they have beaten 3 teams that have already won bowl games.
And they did it behind a freshman quarterback, Reggie Ball. Great composure, and he showed that in their wins over Auburn, North Carolina State, and Maryland. He's also spectacular. He can make the great play with his feet, and he's thrown for almost 2,000 yards this season. He's quite a player.
Well, Steve Kragthorpe has really turned around the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. They had only won 2 games in the last 2 seasons. One of the great stories in turnarounds of college football this year, with a record of 8-4.
Well, not just with the team, but with the quarterback, James Kilian. He turned around his career. He was a guy buried on the depth chart. He's become the big play guy for them now. He can really run the football at 6'6", over 600 yards rushing already.
Well, a couple of exciting quarterbacks. The sun is out and shining here at Bronco Stadium. We'll be back for the opening kickoff at 10 o'clock Mountain Time here in Boise. Tim Ryan with Rod Gilmore back here at Bronco Stadium in Boise, Idaho, where the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech from the ACC take on the WAC's Tulsa Golden Hurricane. Tulsa finishing second in the WAC this season behind Boise State. Well, that's fresh snow you're looking at. 28 degrees the temperature. They're predicting just a high of 29 through the course of today's game, but winds are calm. Both coaches were more concerned about the wind than the temperature when we spoke to them yesterday. Hardy fans here in attendance, and about 500 were told. Friends and family made the trip all the way from Atlanta, Georgia to support Georgia Tech, and of course Tulsa a little bit closer, coming from Oklahoma. They have a good contingent, and they'll have the support of the hometown Boise State fans because they represent their conference. Tulsa won the toss. They deferred. Georgia Tech will receive the ball when they kick it off here just a little after 10 o'clock in the morning here in Mountain Time. Chan Gailey, head coach in his second year at Georgia Tech, a record of 13-12, 6-6 this year. And Steve Kragthorpe and Rod, we talked about what a turnaround. This guy came in from the Buffalo Bills, where he was the quarterback's coach, took over this job as head coach, his first opportunity as head coach. And what a job he has done. An 8-4 mark in his first season.
And he's a young coach, a young man who didn't expect to become the head coach for a couple more years. Got the shot here following Keith Burns at Tulsa, and has really turned this program around from attitude to performance on the field.
No doubt about that. He's got, I think his own attitude is a big part of it, contributing to the team's attitude, that he came in and said effectively that, you know, we're not going to be making a whole lot of changes here. We want to build our own program, but we think you guys can play a lot better than you have, and he convinced them that they could. Of course, you made the point in the opening that the quarterback, James Kilian, just getting his opportunity to step in, and he's been quite a leader.
Yes, he has, but we're going to see another leader on the other side when Georgia Tech takes the field offensively. They've got a young freshman quarterback, freshman of the year. Georgia Tech coming all the way out here, and this is an early start for both these teams, and it's cold out here. We're playing in the snow in the morning.
All right, Brad DeVault kicks it off. Georgia Tech in white. Kenny Scott right from the goal line. He's got a little running room. Scott works his way toward the sideline and gets out near the 30 before he is stopped. And so Georgia Tech, good position to start from, a 29-yard return. Reggie Ball brings on the Georgia Tech offense. 6'1", true freshman, ACC Rookie of the Year, had an outstanding season. He's from Stone Mountain, Georgia, very near Atlanta.
He's something. He's got great feet. I think they exaggerate on their guide with his size. He's not quite 6'1". I give him more like 5'11", barely under 6 feet.
Passing at 52%, and a good runner as well. And that is P.J. Daniels. He's the main man in the running attack for Georgia Tech. Gets out to about the 35-yard line. Hit there by Brandon Lohr. And Georgia Tech offensively, the top receiver, Jonathan Smith. Keep an eye on him, number 21. He's the explosive guy, 75 catches already this season. Daniels gets blocking from Jimmy Dixon. Across the front, Dorsey, Andy Tidwell-Neal, Hugh Riley. He's outstanding at center. Riley, all ACC from Roswell, Georgia. And throwing on second down The flare out to Jonathan Smith, and he's got first down yardage here for the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech. Defensively, a three-man front. They use a 3-3-5. Jeremy Davis is the leading tackler among the down linemen with 45 tackles and 3 sacks. Keep an eye on Jorma Bailey, 6 sacks coming in from the outside, but Nick Bunting, the star there, the young true freshman. Defensively, Shannon Carter, a 24-year-old freshman with 3 picks on the season. And this is Daniels again. Daniels digs his way for another 5, maybe 6 on that play before Shannon Carter hauls him down.
Yeah, every time I hear the phrase young freshman, I think, well, you don't have to say young freshman, it's a freshman. But then every time you hear that, a guy like Shannon Carter shows up, who's a 24-year-old freshman, and you have to say, okay, there's an old freshman. You had a young freshman on the other side and old freshman over there.
Well, and of course, his story is great. We'll tell you more about it, but he's coming back from a minor league baseball career, originally signed by the Toronto Blue Jays organization, and decided to come back and play football. He had been an outstanding high school star. And this is Jonathan Smith on the end around, and this time it's well read, and he is dropped for a loss. Clint Roundtree, number 18, a junior, coming up to make the hit.
And what is Clint Roundtree doing up around the line of scrimmage making a play? Well, part of that's that 3-3-5 defense. You know, it's becoming the in vogue kind of thing. If you don't have a lot of big defensive linemen, what the heck? Just play 2 or 3 of them and then play more linebackers, more defensive backs, and become aggressive. That's exactly what Tulsa does defensively. They like that 3-3-5, and they come after you almost every down.
It'll leave them a 3rd and 4 at the 47-yard line of Georgia Tech. Ball wants to pass, has some pressure, and he is hauled down. Huge loss on the sack from Jorma Bailey. Firing in off the edge, the 5'11 senior from Clearwater, Florida. Former running back showing that speed, and his 7th sack of the year. Tech will have to punt.
Well, here comes your pressure that way. An overload. They've got too many guys going, and they can't block them. Georgia Tech can't. Here comes the pressure. Nick Bunting, 41, coming inside, and then you've got Bailey coming on the outside, 32.
The punt taken down at about the 30-yard line. They let it hop out of bounds. See where they're going to spot that. 48-yard punt. Good kick for Georgia Tech, and Tulsa will take over. Andy Thompson's 48-yard punt. 11:53 to go here in the first. And our first look at the offense, James Kilian, 6'4", 214-pound junior from tiny Medford, Oklahoma. Played 8-man football in high school in that tiny town. We'll tell you more about that as we go along. A history major who is a very bright student and an outstanding leader. And here's the first shift you'll see from Charlie Stubbs, the offensive coordinator's offensive looks. And they give it to Eric Richardson. Flag flies on first down for Tulsa. Aaron Fox made the tackle, the signal against the Golden Hurricane. R.G. Detillier gives the signal, and it's an offensive motion penalty, perhaps a formation with all of that shifting. And Tulsa offensively, their outstanding tight end Garrett Mills with 50 catches. He's the leading receiver.
The Golden Hurricane was a false start.
False start is the call. Keep an eye on Austin Chadwick. He'll have his hands
5-yard
full
penalty.
today.
Repeat, first down.
Against a
First
strong
and 15.
Georgia Tech front led by Eric Henderson. First and 15 from the 15-yard line of the Hurricane. In motion behind the ball goes Romby Bryant. And it's Garrett Mills, incomplete. Defensively for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, Eric Henderson having an outstanding year. 10 sacks, 47 tackles, the sophomore from New Orleans. Along with Travis Parker, they lead that front. Outstanding linebackers. Both coaches on both teams say the same thing. Watch out for Fox and Smith. They are outstanding. James Butler with 5 picks leads the secondary for the Yellow Jackets. Second and 15. Still at the 15-yard line of Tulsa, their opening offensive series. Play action, and wide open down the sideline is Caleb Blankenship, the tight end. Big first down out near midfield. Reuben Houston came back to get him. Caleb Blankenship.
Oh, you got to find the tight ends because they run crossing routes all the time. This is Blankenship just crossing across the field, and he's wide open.
32-yard pickup. James Kilian.
And Tim, if you haven't seen this Tulsa offense in a while, last year they ran a two-back offense. This year they went to the two tight ends because they have two good ones.
From the shotgun, it's almost picked up. Whoa, that was a close call. Reuben Houston saw that one all the way. They tried to just fire it out quickly to Jermaine Landrum, set up a flanker screen, and watch Houston jump in here.
Oh, you cannot play the screen, quick screen, any better than that. He saw it right off the bat, beat his guy, and then he did what all DBs do, drop the ball. Because if we could catch, we'd be wide receivers.
Well, he did catch it 3 times this season. But if he had caught that one, he'd be in the end zone right now.
Oh, he had a pick 6.
2nd and 10, Tulsa. From their own 47, the big play, a 32-yard strike from Kilian to Blankenship to get them out here. A near disaster. This is Richardson. Eric Richardson, not much running room as he is met by Landry and Darrell Smith. Landry coming up from safety, and Darrell Smith, one of those 2 outstanding linebackers, he and Aaron Fox. Fox with 150 tackles, Smith with 122. You know, you can expect to see them around the ball all afternoon, or all morning, as we should say.
Yeah, we'll get to the afternoon eventually. I don't know which one of those guys is faster. I mean, Smith has great speed, and then you look outside, Fox, he's got great speed too. So when you have linebackers like that, you want to try and get a little misdirection going, take advantage of their speed.
Saw that red line there on your screen, the line of scrimmage. Kilian under pressure, and he is hauled down back at the 32-yard line. Eric Henderson, his 11th sack of the season.
Henderson will get the sack, but Smith, once again, great speed. He was on top of Kilian quicker than Kilian realized. I mean, here comes the pressure inside, and they're going to lose them altogether. There you see Henderson, 56, on a twist inside, and Smith was also.
So Tulsa will have to punt. Court Moffitt hits it from his 24-yard line. And it is caught by Jonathan Smith, who is smacked immediately, dropped near the 20-yard line. Shannon Carter with a hit. Well, these two teams haven't seen each other in 60 years. That's why this is one of those recolored black and white films you're looking at. You'll find out more when we come back. Scoreless football game, 10:05 to go here in the first quarter at Bronco Stadium in Boise, Idaho. Yellow Jackets out of the ACC coming in at 6-6 for the season. As we mentioned, they beat 3 tough teams who have already won bowl games in the postseason: North Carolina State, Maryland, and Auburn. In Tulsa with a great turnaround story, an 8-4 mark. And the WAC overall record for the season for them, 8-4, and finishing second in the WAC, tied with Hawaii behind Boise State. First down, Yellow Jackets, gain of about 4, and let's go down to Heather Cox, our 3rd member of our broadcast team, at the sideline.
Thanks, Tim. Mark Twain once said that familiarity breeds content. Well, if that's the case, then these two teams should be fast friends. Believe it or not, this is just the 3rd time ever these two programs have met. Ironically, all 3 times have been in bowl games. Today marks the first meeting since the two teams faced off in the 1994 Orange Bowl. Tulsa came away with the win. Ironically, the two also met the year earlier in the Sugar Bowl. Now it's taken nearly 60 years to meet again. The series is tied at 1 apiece. Today's the modern-day grudge match, Tim.
All right, Heather. That's a long time between rings for these two teams. Daniels picks up a couple, and the last meeting was 1945, the 1st of January in the Orange Bowl in Miami. 29,426 fans in attendance. Tulsa's Camp Wilson returned this kickoff 90 yards. They went on to win it 26-12. And that's the last time these two have seen each other. And here they are meeting in Boise, Idaho.
And those fans back in 1944, they were warm.
Well, they're warm here too. They're warm here today, except you California guys. on third down. Daniels blasts straight ahead and has the first for the Yellow Jackets over the 35 to the 36-yard line, met there by Nick Bunting. We mentioned Nick Bunting, the freshman from Tulsa, all-WAC performer this year as a true freshman and the freshman of the year in that conference. 74 tackles, 3 sacks, and 2 picks. This guy can play.
Well, if he's going to play today, he's going to have to handle the center, Hugh Riley, because Riley's going to try and handle the nose guard and then get out there and get on Bunting as well.
Ball wants to throw on first down. Straight drop back down the sideline. Intended for Jonathan Smith. Overthrow. Nobody's doubted that Ball has great arm strength, but still as a true freshman trying to find that timing on the long ball. Had a little more effectiveness throwing the shorter passes, but he can get it down there, as you just saw.
He doesn't waste time. I mean, that guy became the starting quarterback just about 2 weeks after getting on campus in the summer practice, right out of high school. Won the job away, took it away from A.J. Suggs, who had transferred from Tennessee.
2nd and 10 from the 31. Give us to Daniels. Daniels is the workhorse, as you can tell early in this game. 1,140 yards on the season. 6 touchdowns, and they'll throw it to him as well. He had 19 catches.
And the other thing about Reggie Ball, he had his first significant injury of the season in their last game of the season against Georgia, had a concussion. And other than that, he's been healthy. This is the first action since that ball game for him, so I'm curious to see how he reacts to having been knocked out of a ball game.
3 wideouts in on 3rd and 6, 2 of them stacked on the right side. Ball looking right, comes back to the middle to Jonathan Smith, who makes a good catch, but short of the first down. Leaping catch by Jonathan Smith, and not much of a gain. It'll bring up 4th and about 2. Kendrick Alexander made the tackle on him, and it does bring up the punting situation for the Yellow Jackets. Andy Thompson with a reach for the snap, but gets a good kick away. It comes down at the 10 and will roll into the end zone for a touchback. So Tulsa will start on their 20-yard line. And we're still scoreless here in the first period in Boise. Tim Ryan, Rod Gilmore, Heather Cox here at Bronco Stadium in Boise, Idaho. First down Tulsa in this scoreless first period from their 20-yard line following the Georgia Tech punt. Kilian 1 of 3 passing. A 32-yarder to Blankenship is only big play so far. And that is out to Romby Bryant. Bryant immediately dropped, a gain of just a couple. What a job Steve Kragthorpe has done here. The 38-year-old coach of the year in the WAC conference for this 8-4 season.
Well, you see the numbers there. 1-11, and they couldn't score, and they couldn't play really defense very well. They were under Keith Burns, who was presiding over a team that was really divided. They had division between seniors and freshmen and quarterback controversy, and Kragthorpe handled all of that.
All that bad stuff. 2nd and 6, and Kilian, he's hit hard, and the ball is picked off by Georgia Tech on the fumble recovery. Travis Parker made the recovery of the fumble, the defensive tackle, and what a pop by Jonathan Cox, the cornerback, on Kilian, the big quarterback.
Yeah, and Kilian is a big guy with a lot of surface area. You see, he's listed at about 6'4". He appears to me to be taller than that. He is a big guy, and he does run the ball a lot, over 600 yards rushing on the season, and that was just a perfect hit, helmet on ball, knocking it right out of there.
Jonathan Cox with the hit, Parker with the recovery, and a first down. Georgia Tech at the Tulsa 30. And that is Chris Woods, his first carry for the Yellow Jackets. Driving his way close to the 25-yard line, depending on the spot. Kendrick Alexander comes up to make his second hit of the game. He spotted it just outside the 21-yard line.
And so far, Hugh Riley, the center, is winning the battle up front. He's right now beating Brandon Lord 97. And Riley is a first-team All-ACC center. He's played every down this season.
Second down. And straight ahead, Woods. He's got a lot of running room inside the 20-yard line and looks like he has the first down. Jermaine Hope gets him there. Tonight at 7:30 Eastern, the college basketball season continues with the All-College Classic on ESPN. The SMU Mustangs meet John Allen, John Lucas, and the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Tonight at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. For more, log on to ESPN.com.
We're winding down the football season, and basketball's starting to get in high gear.
Already, you bet. And it is a first down right at the 20-yard line. So into red zone territory for the Yellow Jackets here in the first period. And this is Woods again. And Woods finding running room once more, gets down to the 15-yard line.
As
Looks like
long
Jackets have found something there straight between those two guards.
Yeah, they found Riley, their center. I mean, as long as he can handle the nose guard by himself, they're going to make yardage inside. If he can single up and do that, which he is, that is freeing up the guards to do other things. And he is right now dominating inside.
All-conference center Hugh Riley, 6'4", 285-pounder, senior from Roswell, Georgia. They put Smith out on the right flank. Two setbacks. They go with Woods again, and Woods met this time and then runs hard. Shannon Carter came up to put the hit on him, but Woods carried him for a couple. Down near the 13-yard line. Make it the 12. 4:20 to go here in the first, and Woods comes out after some good work. Daniels comes back in.
Now keep your eye inside. Just watch Riley work. All by himself on the nose guard, gets him turned, which frees up each guard to handle their guy and then get out on linebackers. He's doing a good job in there.
4 carries for Woods. Daniels back in now, but 18 yards picked up by Woods. Now it's Daniels' turn. Spin move. Gets down near the 10-yard line. Shannon Carter again coming up with another hit from the safety position. They're working that middle.
And Tulsa realizes that. And they're starting to bring their pressure, their run blitzes into the middle. Bring an extra guy, bring a safety, bring a linebacker on a blitz inside to shore up the weakness they have in the middle part of their defense.
4th down and less than a foot to go. And Georgia Tech's going to take a timeout. They're 9 out of 22 on 4th down opportunities this season. Let's see what they come up with here.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the 2004 Humanitarian Bowl. Brought to you by Sonic. It's not just good, it's Sonic good.
Tim Ryan, Rod Gilmore, Heather Cox welcoming you back to snowy Boise, Idaho. Scoreless, but the Yellow Jackets threatening from the 10-yard line. We haven't mentioned the famous blue field here yet. Many probably haven't seen it, but yes, indeed, it is blue turf. It's not blue ice out there. And actually, the field in excellent condition. And diving for the first down is Reggie Ball on that 4th and less than a foot inside the 10. It'll be 1st and goal for Georgia Tech.
That tells you how great Riley is playing at the center spot. And Chan Gailey said, hey, my center is dominating out there. We got to get a foot. We're just going to quarterback sneak right behind him.
Number 67, Hugh Riley, all-conference center. They spotted at the 9.
Right now, though, they might decide to give the ball to the running back formerly known as Prince.
P.J. Prince Jr., that's P.J. stands for. And here he is with the ball, cutting it back, touchdown. Daniels with just a little daylight dove in there and has Georgia Tech on top.
Oh boy, he looks like a little red Corvette going through there.
He had the accelerator down, that's for sure, as soon as he saw that orange end zone.
All you got to do is find out where the center, number 67, Riley is, and follow him. I mean, nice drive block, pushing folks off to the right side. A nice cutback.
Dan Burnett for the point after. And it is good. And so the Yellow Jackets turn that turnover. The fumble recovery by Travis Parker. The fumble by Kilian sets up this score by Daniels and a 7-0 Georgia Tech lead. Back here in Boise, the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech have taken the lead over the Golden Hurricanes 7-0. 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. 9-yard touchdown score by P.J. Daniels. 30 yards in 7 plays, taking 3:12 off the clock.
That number 45 looks better on his back than the number 114 he had when he walked on to the team.
Boy, isn't that something, huh? Imagine this guy. I mean, coming from, he was a 7th tailback a year ago and becomes the starter out of sheer perseverance and obviously a lot of talent. Burnett kicks it off. Deep are Johnson and Bryant. And it's Donnie Johnson. He shakes out the first tackler. Good effort there to get out to the 28, but the ball comes loose. Loose ball. Tech says they have it. Was he down? So far, no signal indicating Georgia Tech, so it'll be Tulsa ball. An 18-yard return. Tell you, Johnson's a pretty solid guy, shaking off that first hit, but as he goes, yes, he was down.
Yeah.
By contact, the ball comes out, and so Tulsa retains possession.
Yeah, his knees are down here, and then the ball comes out. See, he's down, and now ball comes out. That's a good call.
So Tulsa trailing 7-0. First down at their own 27-yard line. Kilian play action, 2 good fakes. Gets him some time, runs out of it, and has dropped the ball loose again. Jarris Wilkinson with the hit. The ball stripped. And again, it looks like he was down by contact. So Tulsa, 2 lucky breaks here. The ball coming loose, and they maintain possession.
Well, I'll tell you this. If Kilian had a half second more, or if he had looked down the field deep, he would have found his wide receiver Colton wide open. But instead, he got pressure from that good Georgia Tech defense, and he didn't have time to look down the field.
Yes, it was Jarris Wilkinson who got the hit on him. So it's second down. He got almost back to the line of scrimmage. Second, a little more than 10. Has time, and that's complete out the right side to Garrett Mills, the tight end. Tulsa using 2 tight ends almost all of the time. Pressure from Travis Parker that play, but a gain of 6.
You know, we talked about earlier the change in this offense, and you see the ball going to the tight ends, Garrett Mills and Caleb Blankenship. This is what Kragthorpe wanted to do. When he arrived, he looked at his roster, and he found out, that's Charlie Stubbs there, he looked at his offense and said, hey, I got a couple tight ends. Let's get them on the field. Let's go to the 1 back. Let's use those guys.
Yeah, I think that was another encouraging thing for the whole roster, that he sensed that, okay, let's find where the talent is and let's play it that way, build the offense around the talent. That's Richardson. Or make it Landrum, pardon me, Jermaine Landrum. And that's a Charlie Stubbs kind of thing there, with getting that wide receiver involved.
He's just changing it up a little bit. And Charlie Stubbs, the name will be familiar to a lot of you college football fans, and particularly Alabama fans, where he was the offensive coordinator under Mike DeBose. And he was operating with handcuffs on when he was at Alabama. He really wanted to open things up and be wild and crazy, but an offensive line coach he was working with, calling plays, and a defensive coach, and they wanted to be conservative. This is more his style here at Tulsa.
Landrum coming up a yard short, so they'll have to punt, and it's Court Moffitt standing at the 20, hits from the 25. Good kick by Moffitt. Backing up Jonathan Smith. He dropped the ball, and it looks like Tulsa's there. Now there's a scramble for it, and it is Tulsa ball. So Jonathan Smith, an outstanding punt returner, in addition to being their best receiver, fumbles that big long punt from Moffitt, a 55-yarder at the 11-yard line.
This is a guy who simply does not drop punts. He's got great hands. In the last 3 games, he has 2 touchdowns and 5 returns for 170 yards. I gotta believe, a little early in the morning for Jonathan Smith out there.
Well, a tough break for the Yellow Jackets and a big play for Tulsa. Montez Culton coming up with the loose ball on the fumble by Smith. 55-yard punt by Moffitt. First down, Golden Hurricane. Kilian rolling, takes off and gets a couple. Goes out of bounds at the 7-yard line of Georgia Tech.
We talked about James Kilian being buried on the depth chart when Kragthorpe came here. Kilian almost transferred. He just felt like he wasn't going to get an opportunity when Keith Burns was the head coach. And then out of the blue, he was competing with Tyler Gooch, who was the starting quarterback the last couple seasons. And then Tyler Gooch up and quit during the summer, transferred to Oklahoma to play baseball. They don't have a baseball program in Tulsa.
Well, Kilian, I'm sure believed he was going to win the contest with Gooch anyway, but he has shown great leadership. Here's another one of those Charlie Stubbs shifts. Kilian, the pitch, whistles everywhere. And that will probably be twice now when they've made one of those big shifts. They've picked up a motion penalty. False start.
False start. Offense.
RG
5
Detilier.
yards. Still. Second down.
Conference USA.
The problem is when they make the shift, they don't wait a full second before running the play. They've got it timed too close together. They've got to get set and then pause and then go.
Kragthorpe a little unhappy with that. It backs the ball out to the 12-yard line. And new personnel comes on the field now. Landrum comes back in.
You know, Georgia Tech, they don't change personnel very often. I mean, they'll watch Tulsa bring a lot of guys on, but they'll stay with their 11 because their linebackers are so fast. They don't need to bring in extra defensive backs usually.
3 wideouts in the lineup now. Kilian straight back. Gets it off to the running back, Richardson, and he gets down to the 5-yard line. Eric Richardson stopped by Jonathan Cox, the cornerback. That'll leave 3rd and 5. They can actually get a first down at the 1. We've got a timeout on the field, and it's the WAC versus the ACC here at the Humanitarian Bowl in Boise. Tech on top on this touchdown by P.J. Daniels. Welcome back to the H-Bowl, as they call it here in Boise. 7-0 Georgia Tech lead over Tulsa as we are about to begin the second quarter of play. And Georgia Tech's P.J. Daniels, following the turnover, got Georgia Tech on top in the first quarter. And right now it's Tulsa threatening at the 5-yard line, a 3rd down and 4. They can get to the 1-yard line for another first down. And that position on the field for Tulsa came after the fumbled punt return attempt by Jonathan Smith. Recovery by Colton. And let's see now, they've strung out 5 receivers. Literally the width of the field. Kilian running out of time. Hasn't thrown it yet. Now he does up the field, try to keep it in bounds. Ball was caught, but was he inbounds? And yes, he was. Be a gain of a couple. Richard McQuiller coming back to help out his quarterback. Travis Parker had the chase on, along with Jarris Wilkinson of the quarterback Kilian.
I think the speed of the Georgia Tech defense is a little bit surprising to Kilian. He believes he can outrun those guys, not just the linebackers, but the defensive linemen. And you saw Wilkerson, I mean, really put pressure on him that time with the speed.
So on 4th down, the field goal try from Brad DeVault, 22-yard field goal. High snap, and DeVault, good job. Gets it through, and Tulsa's on the board. Just underway in the second quarter. Georgia Tech leading 7-3. Those are the foothills with fresh snow in the Treasure Valley here. We're at the Humanitarian Bowl, Bronco Stadium, Boise, Idaho. Georgia Tech leading 7-3 early in the second quarter. And Tulsa just scored on the field goal following the drop ball by Jonathan Smith on the attempted punt return. So both scores coming following turnovers. Brad DeVault will kick it off. Kenny Scott The deep man for Tech, waiting for it at the 5. Number 2. Scott will bring it up. And gets over the 30. Nice running there to the 32-yard line. Let's go down to the sideline once again and Heather Cox.
Thanks, Tim. I am joined by the executive director of the Humanitarian Bowl, Gary Beck. Now, yesterday, Chan Gailey told me that he thought that the South had cornered the market on hospitality, but Boise has proved him wrong. What makes Boise the perfect host site for the Humanitarian Bowl?
Well, we've got great corporate support. The community's come out today. I mean, we had, what, 4 inches, 5 inches of snow today, and the ground crew did a great job getting the stadium ready, and the people showed up. So we're real pleased with the way Boise responded, and just a testimony of how they like to, entertain out-of-town guests.
This is its 7th year. It just continues to grow and grow. What's the future of the Humanitarian Bowl like?
Well, I think it's very, very bright. I mean, we got 2 out-of-town teams, and people are still wanting to be involved with the bowl, and they're showing up for a game even in inclement weather.
It's been a fun one. Gary, congratulations on all its success.
Thanks, Heather.
Tim?
All right, Heather, yeah, they're used to seeing their home team here, Boise State's Broncos. They had such an outstanding season this year that they got invited to the Fort Worth Bowl. They won that ball game down there, beating TCU. And it is a great thing that the locals here have come out to support their fellow team from the WAC, the Golden Hurricane of Tulsa. Ball on 2nd down, and that's incomplete, intended for Jimmy Dixon, the fullback out of the backfield. Nick Bunting had the coverage. The linebacker showing speed of foot.
Well, Chan Gailey yesterday talking about the experience that he's had here with his team. He was positively excited about this place, and his players were talking about having fun snowmobiling and really being treated like royalty, since they've been here. It's been a great bowl experience for the Georgia Tech crew.
We mentioned about 500 friends and family came all the way from Atlanta. I hope they brought their long johns with them today, as we've got about 28 degrees here. And that's P.J. Daniels, and Daniels gets back about 4 of the 5 they had to give up on that motion call on 1st down. Brandon Lohr made the tackle.
I don't think anybody's had more fun here than P.J. Daniels.
That's right.
He had a big smile on his face yesterday talking to us about being here in Boise and didn't know what to expect and getting to hang out in the snow and the snowmobiling and watching the snow fall. I don't know how he felt about the overnight snow last night. It was really coming down.
Yeah, that would have been a bit of a shock to wake up this morning for those guys and walk out there and see all that snow.
My car was covered in snow.
Daniels, a walk-on from Houston, Texas. 7th tailback a year ago. Just having an outstanding year. 1,000-yard season.
Call timeout.
Timeout call. Georgia Tech had their 3 wide receiver lineup on the field and decided they didn't like what they saw, so Reggie Ball will talk it over. They've got 1 timeout remaining here in the 2nd half. They've used 2 already. Let's find out some more about P.J. Daniels. We've just been talking about the man whose name is Prince Jr.
My name is P.J. Daniels, Georgia Tech, number 45. My given name is Prince Ahazi Daniels Jr., which is given from my father, who is Prince Sr., who is originally from Ghana. My favorite players growing up were Walter Payton and Barry Sanders. I love Walter Payton because of his toughness. I love Barry Sanders because of his moves. A bowl game is a reward that a team works for all year, and I'm happy to contribute to that. My most memorable moment in Boise was riding the snowmobile, even though I fell off and landed in 2 feet of snow. Now sit back and enjoy the Jackets in action.
Yeah, they all talk about that snowmobile experience.
I think some of them had experience this morning because it's pretty easy to fall into 2 feet of snow walking out of your hotel this morning.
3rd down and 10. Georgia Tech at their own 32-yard line, leading 7-3 here in the 2nd quarter. Reggie Ball, chase from behind. There's his foot speed and work, but good coverage by Tulsa. No gain on the play. Bobby Blackshire, the nickelback, coming in to make the stop on the quarterback, Reggie Ball.
Well, they had a chance to make a play. Watch P.J. pick up the blitz. And so Reggie Ball had a chance to hang in there and make a throw because P.J. did pick up the blitz, but then he felt pressure from the backside and then couldn't go downfield. But P.J. Daniels did a great job picking up the pressure that came right at him.
So Thompson punting for Georgia Tech. It's caught at the 20-yard line. Landrum scrambling around and gets just a couple back to the 23. 47-yard punt, a 3-yard return. And the score remains 7-3 Georgia Tech. Here in Boise, Idaho at the Humanitarian Bowl, Georgia Tech leading 7-3 here in the second quarter in the Bowl Challenge Cup. Look at these two top conferences. The WAC at 3-0. They've got 4 teams in bowl play, and the ACC 4-1. Right behind them, they've got 6 teams in bowl play.
Yeah, the Big Ten and the Big East. They've got some explaining to do.
Well put.
No
ACC,
trophy.
North Carolina State, Virginia, and Maryland all won their bowl games, and Clemson over Tennessee. In the WAC, Boise beat TCU, Hawaii beat Houston, and Fresno State beat UCLA. This is Richardson on first down for Tulsa, picking his way for about 1.5 yards to the 25-yard line of the Golden Hurricane. James Butler came up to make the tackle. Very active safety for Georgia Tech. 116 tackles on the season for that guy, the junior from Climax, Georgia. All conference safety.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that is pretty good. He's got 5 picks as well. Averages 10 tackles a game, so you can expect to find him around the ball along with those outstanding linebackers that we've referred to. Kearon Fox, number 54, and Darrell Smith, number 51. 2nd and 8, Tulsa. Kilian, straight drop, under pressure, gets it away. The release man gets about maybe a yard on the play. Richardson dropped immediately. That'll bring up a 3rd down. Jonathan Cox came up and put the tackle on him.
You know,
2nd down, pardon me.
you always want to look for the weakness of a defense, and that isn't it there. 3rd down? Okay, 3rd down. We'll go 3rd down. But when they're playing a 2 deep, those corners are rolling up in the flat. They're going to be right around the line of scrimmage, and you can't dump a ball in the flat there. They're just going to come right up and make the tackle. The weakness of a 2 deep defense is down the middle, down the deep side.
Kilian, 5 of 8 passing. High snap. Good recovery by Kilian. He got a lucky bounce and throws it out of bounds. Smart play by Kilian. And of course, Tech saying he threw it away, intentional grounding, and they had a flag.
Yeah, they talked him into it, and they're right, because that ball did not get beyond the line of scrimmage. He's outside the tackle box, which is good, but the second part is you got to throw it beyond the line of scrimmage.
Well, that was about all he could do there, was either eat it or hope they didn't get the call.
Yeah. See, Georgia Tech's speed is really surprising Kilian. He gets chased down there.
Chris Reese, the guy that come from the secondary all the way in to make that play. But the high snap was, of course, the problem from center Derek Wareheim. And at least for Tulsa, they didn't cough up the ball deep in their own zone. But they'll be punting from the end zone. Port Moffitt had a 55-yarder the last time he pounded it. Jonathan Smith waits for this one right at midfield. No matter what, Georgia Tech gets good field position. He just got it away. And end over end comes down at the 48. Smith with one good move and another and another. And he's pulled down from behind at the 26-yard line. 40-yard punt, a 21-yard return by number 21, Jonathan Smith. And the Yellow Jackets in good shape here. The punt, Georgia Tech on 2 straight running plays by Daniels, moving the ball to the 16-yard line. That's what you missed while we were away. Tim Ryan, Rod Gilmore, Heather Cox here at Boise State's Bronco Stadium, where Georgia Tech leads 7-3, and they're threatening again. They give us to Daniels, trying the right tackle side, not much there. A couple, stopped by Jeremy Davis. Davis, the senior from Tulsa, number 90, left defensive end, and putting the stop on Daniels, who's been the workhorse as usual for Georgia Tech on the ground. He got maybe 1.5 yards on that one.
You think his teammates are going to give him a little bit of grief when he starts his ballet class in the spring?
You better amplify that.
Well, you know, he's always looking for an edge. He's always trying something to improve his game. And he said he's going to start taking ballet because he figures that'll help him.
Well, that's a guy who meditates every morning. He calls them focus exercises. He's very much his own man. Interesting guy, P.J. Daniels. And the play-action pass to the tight end, Forsey. Forsey stumbled as he caught the ball, so not too much on the gain. Got down to about the 12. Gain of a couple for the big tight end, 270-pound senior from Glen Head, New York.
Well, just a simple delay by the tight end. And Reggie Ball, after he threw that, he slapped his helmet because he knew he put that ball in a bad spot. A little bit low. Forsey needed to get it up higher so he could catch it and run with it.
First catch of the game by the big tight end, Forsey, and it is third down now. 12-yard line of the Golden Hurricane. Ball straight back this time, goes to the end zone and overthrows the intended receiver, Jonathan Smith. On the coverage of Kendrick Alexander.
That was good coverage by Tulsa.
Sophomore from Plano, Texas, number 3.
You never want to let a wide receiver get inside of you down around the goal line. And that was a great job by Alexander because he forced Smith to go around him. So he couldn't get inside, so it was a harder throw. It was great coverage by Alexander.
And he forced Georgia Tech to attempt the field goal. A 29-yard try by Dan Burnett. From the right hash, and Burnett has it. So Georgia Tech widens their lead. 10-3 here with 8:26 to go. In the first half of play at Bronco Stadium in Boise, Idaho, the ACC team, Georgia Tech on top.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the 2004 Humanitarian Bowl. Brought to you by Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Yeah, you can ski right up the hill here in the foothills, very near Boise, about a 15-minute drive up to an area called Bogus Basin. And they've got some fresh powder today. 10-3 Georgia Tech score. Field goal by Dan Burnett, and Burnett will kick it off. 29-yard field goal to give them that 7-point margin over the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes. Squib kick taken at the 24-yard line. They brought out Nick Bunting, the linebacker. And let's go to Reese Davis in our studios. Reese.
All right, Tim, last night in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, Bill Snyder made the decision to start L. Roberson, play him throughout, despite that police investigation into an alleged sexual assault. Roberson barely misses a touchdown pass here. Coming up at halftime, we're going to talk about Bill Snyder's decision and the impact that it had on the game. This is story of the night for the Wildcats. Just about that close. Not good enough. Buckeyes won at 35-28.
I bet the guys will have a spirited discussion about that, and I'm sure that Bill Snyder felt like he was going to get ripped whether he did it or not.
Good point.
You can't win.
And they give it to Eric Richardson coming up the slot position. A flag down on the play, and see what the call is from R.G. Detillier, the referee. Again, it looks like a false starter in motion. Every time they've gone into their shift, which is their, that's their meat and potatoes, they've been getting called on these motion penalties.
Well, they have to wait. They have to pause.
Holding.
This is a hold this time.
Offense. 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. Replay. First down.
Well, here's a look at the coaches poll, and of course, they'll be talking about this for the next year, no matter what happens in the Nokia Sugar Bowl. This is going to be a source of controversy.
Yeah. Chan Gailey told us yesterday that he does not have a vote, but if he had a vote in the coaches poll, he would vote for the winner of the Sugar Bowl as the national champion.
But only because he said those are the rules that were set up. He didn't say that he actually supported that idea, just that he thinks that that's the rule. That's the way the coaches vote. They agreed that that would be the case, and therefore the Nokia Sugar Bowl winner should be declared the national champion. Kilian gets just a couple. Kieran Fox makes the tackle on him on the 2nd and 20.
Well, I don't know about that. Obviously, Chan Gailey has not seen Pirates of the Caribbean because, Johnny Depp's rule was, follow the code, but sometimes you don't follow the code. You got to do what's right. You know, Captain Jack Sparrow had to leap in the water and save Elizabeth, and almost put the pirate to death for that.
I haven't seen that film. You got me so excited I'm going to go and see it. A bunch of whiteouts, and Kilian has no time to get to them. He's dropped by Darrell Smith, the linebacker, blitzing. Darrell Smith, we talk about Fox and Smith. There's something, and here's another example.
There he is. You know, you got to find 51, find Smith. He's got great speed. Somebody has got to block him, you know? He's too good a player just to leave him alone. It's not like you can't see him. He's out there by himself looking at you. You got to get some protection over there, or he's going to get you.
So it is now 3rd and 21 for the Golden Hurricane inside their 25-yard line at the 24. Kilian straight drop again. The blitz comes again, and he overthrows the target. Robbie Bryant, the intended receiver, but it's out of bounds as Kilian just been unable to get anything going. This time, Reuben Houston coming off the corner to put the pressure on the quarterback, Kilian.
Well, at least that time they figured out find Smith and let somebody block him. They just didn't account for Houston coming on the blitz.
Gordon Moffitt, chunky punter in there, standing at the 10-yard line. And that's a big man for a punter. Jonathan Smith, but he gets all that muscle into his kicks. Another good one to the 30. Smith with a spin move and a nice open field tackle. Hauls him down. A 46-yard punt, and Shannon Carter with another ankle grab makes the stop. Well, tonight at 7:30 Eastern, the college basketball season continues with the All-College Classic on ESPN. The SMU Mustangs will beat John Allen, John Lucas, and the Oklahoma State Cowboys. College basketball tonight at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. For more, log on to ESPN.com. So the Yellow Jackets first down at the 30-yard line. Ball 3 of 6 and a flag immediately. And this time the motion call or false start.
Snap. False start. Offense.
Against
5 yards.
Yellow Jackets.
Still. First down.
Well, whenever you get to a bowl game, you always seem to have penalties and poor tackling. And that's simply because of timing, the speed of the game. When you practice against yourself, there just doesn't seem to be the same speed as when you get into a ball game. I mean, the adrenaline gets flowing and all that, and everything happens a little bit faster.
Reggie Ball 3 of 6 for just 12 yards passing so far. Daniels popped hard behind the line of scrimmage by Michael Ledette.
Well, so far for Reggie Ball, it's been a frustrating ball game. He's been hemmed in, unable to get loose because this 3-3-5 defense bringing pressure with their secondary guys, keeping him in the pocket. And then when he's been on the move, he's been forced a little bit faster than he wanted to be, and his accuracy has been off. One pass low, one pass high.
Their scores came after the fumble by the quarterback Kilian of Tulsa, Daniels' 9-yard score, and the field goal that came after the high snap forced Tulsa to punt from their own end zone. That's John Paul Fashi, the tight end. Not much for him on the play. Nick Bunting and Alexander came up to get him.
Well, John Smith is going to go back to the huddle, and he's going to tell Reggie Ball, I am open every play. The last couple plays, he's been open, and he wants the ball. I mean, he's calling for it, and he just hasn't touched it enough other than the punt returns. He's a key guy for them.
No question. The leading receiver, 75 catches on the year, more than 1,100 yards, both the Georgia Tech season records, averaging 15 yards a catch and 5 touchdowns. He's the man. Ball trying to get it to him, and it's tipped away off the hands of Smith. On the coverage was Jermaine Hope. Steve Kragthorpe told us that they were just going to have Hope follow Smith around all day long. He's their best defender, and they're going to keep him on him.
Yeah, he gets inside him, but he couldn't break that off as flat as he would have liked inside. The field is in great shape, but it is hard to cut really crisply out there.
Fourth punt coming up for Andy Thompson. A high snap, gathers it in and hits it from the 13. At the 35-yard line, this is Landrum. Landrum dropped immediately, but good field position now for Tulsa. They'll start from their own 44-yard line, a 37-yard punt. So we'll take a break here at the H Bowl, Bronco Stadium, Boise, Idaho. Georgia Tech leading 10-3 here with 4:46 to go in the first half of play at Boise's Bronco Stadium. And at Georgia Tech from the ACC against the WAC second place team. Tulsa tied with Hawaii in the great turnaround by Steve Kragthorpe. And the hardy fans have turned out here for this 10 a.m. start Mountain Time in Boise, Idaho. Brandon Dials has now come in at running back for the first time today for Tulsa. James Kilian still trying to get something going. Here's a guy that rushed for 642 yards this year. And he can throw the ball deep, and he does, and it's dropped by Romby Bryant. The ball was there, looked like he was taking a peek at the sideline and didn't make the catch. And then Kilian shaking his head a little at that one because that was a good throw.
It was a great throw and great protection, and then just a drop. I mean, Romby Bryant has 4.38 speed. He can run, and he uses that to get behind Cox.
So it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 44-yard line of Tulsa. Kilian now 5 of 11.
You knew Kragthorpe was going to take a shot. Just a matter of time. He was going to take a couple shots in the first half.
Bryant in motion behind the ball. Kilian, he fell. Kilian dropped the ball. And he's down, obviously, as he fell unmolested. James Kilian has had all kinds of problems here in this first half, including a drop ball, of course, by his receiver Bryant, but he's made his own errors as well.
You saw the offensive coordinator, Charlie Stubbs, just shake his head at this. I mean, they're trying to set up the screen, and he just gets his feet caught up in the blue turf. Got his heels a little bit too close together as he backpedals. You see? Just got his feet together.
And you saw Darrell Smith had the charge on him and then saw it was a screen, turned away from him. So had he kept his feet, he could have had a chance to at least throw the ball. 3rd down. And that one is incomplete, intended for the tight end Blankenship with Reuben Houston on the coverage, number 9.
Yeah, Houston was all over that. There was no sense in throwing that one. You see Charlie Stubbs like, what are you doing? Hey, Houston had that one smelled out.
Gordon Moffitt will come in to punt, but you can see the frustration for sure on the face of the offensive coordinator, Charlie Stubbs. Kilian just doesn't seem comfortable out there at all.
Georgia Tech defense is a lot faster than any defense he's seen this season.
Moffitt's punt. And it's caught by Jonathan Smith. Fair catch. And now let's go down to the sideline and Heather Cox.
Well, Tim, for Coach Kragthorpe in his first year, he's decided to make this a family affair. He actually hired his dad, David, a very famous football coach in his own mind, for $1. He said for the first time ever, he gets to do and tell him what to do. But he said some days he thinks his dad is actually overpaid. His job during the game is the get-back coach, get everybody off of the sideline. He actually coached with offensive coordinator Charlie Stubbs as well for 6 years. Steve says he's a calming influence, keeps everything in perspective, and really keeps this team under control, and it's made him very comfortable in his first year, certainly so with the turnaround that we've seen.
That's an appealing story, Heather. His father, Dave, coached as head coach at Idaho State and Oregon State. That's where he coached with Charlie Stubbs, and was the AD at Utah State for a couple of years back in the 80s. Long pass downfield, intended for Smith, incomplete. From Reggie Ball, airing it out again. Oliver Fletcher on the coverage.
Yeah, Smith, as we mentioned before, has been open, and I think everybody recognized that, including Tulsa. But getting back to Kragthorpe, he was with his dad. His dad was an assistant coach at BYU. And while he was at BYU, I mean, imagine this. You're a kid, and you can hang around with guys like Jim McMahon and Mark Wilson, quarterback, actually coached the 6th grade football team, flag football team. Had an upbringing like that. He was destined to be a coach from the beginning.
Daniels nowhere to go. Dropped by Nick Bunting, the linebacker, coming up quickly to fill. And there's been a lot of talk about this Nick Bunting. Not a huge guy, a linebacker, 6'1", 205-pounder, a freshman, an all-WAC player in his freshman year, and also the WAC freshman of the year. But you can see he's got tons of skills. If he gets any bigger, he's going to be some kind of a prospect.
Well, he thought had he been a little bit bigger coming out of high school, Oklahoma or Oklahoma State would have offered him a scholarship. He said they both told him he was just a little bit too small and maybe a tad bit slow.
Gain of less than a yard on the play. 3rd and about 9. Here's a big hole for Daniels. Daniels over the midfield stripe down to the 45-yard line. And Bobby Blackshire hauls him down there. The biggest run of the day, 25 yards. And it's by P.J. Daniels at Georgia Tech.
Well, good blocking is contagious. It's the left side of the line. You saw number 70, Nat Dorsey, turn out, and then Tidwell Neal, 65, push inside. That created a big hole. And then you just finish off the run. P.J. Daniels finishes off that run with a nice shoulder dip into the defensive back.
He's now got 84 yards, and the sun came out to shine on P.J. Daniels here at Bronco Stadium in Boise. Daniels again right up the middle behind the center, Riley, and the right guard, Brad Honeycutt. Brandon Lohr made the stop.
And don't forget the great block by the fullback, Jimmy Dixon. I mean, when your fullback gets in there, makes a block like that, you have to read it correctly and make the right cut. And Jimmy Dixon makes a great block, and then Daniels cut right off of it to pick up some yardage.
2nd and 4. Bring Smith around, but they give it to Daniels. Another big hole. 1st down inside the 30 of Tulsa. Shannon Carter trips him up. And let's go quickly to the studios at Reese Davis.
All right, Tim, Trev Albertson, Mark Mayer with me. The Nebraska Cornhuskers still in search mode, looking for a head coach. Houston Nutt says no.
And I'll tell you at halftime what I think about Bill Snyder's decision to start his quarterback, L. Roberson, in the Fiesta Bowl.
Hey, guys, you know, there's actually another championship game.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, Sugar Bowl. We'll take a look at that at halftime.
And one that is most deserving. We will pour some sugar on you in just a little while.
All right, on 1st down, and Smith dropped the ball. He was about to be hit as soon as he had caught it anyway, and that's what he was looking at.
Can I weigh in on that sugar?
Weigh in on the sugar.
Because you know those guys are going to disagree with me anyway.
Well,
so
you might as well get it in now.
Yeah,
exactly.
Take my shot, preempt them, right? You know.
Weigh in.
I look at it this way. If LSU wins, then there's legitimate claim for LSU and USC to be champs. I mean, they both won their conferences. You know, they both played in tough conferences, one loss. There you go. If Oklahoma wins, then I think the only champion ought to be USC, because Oklahoma didn't win their conference. You got to win your conference.
Okay. Yeah, but they are going to disagree with you, I suspect.
I'm sure you disagree with me.
Well, that's why I was hesitating. We have a flag again, another false start. Both teams suffering from those.
Second down.
Part of the reason for these false starts may well be that they both haven't played for a month, and so that kind of weekly routine and weekly timing isn't quite there for either squad. I don't like votes, period, to select the best team or the best player, like the Heisman Trophy or MVPs and so on. I've never liked those in any
You like
sport.
the computer formula better?
No, I don't like that either. So you know where I'm headed. If they can't play it off, then don't worry about who's number 1. You got 3 or 4 really outstanding top teams. Daniels gets back near the original line of scrimmage, about a 4.5-yard gain. Lidette made the stop there. You know, obviously they keep talking about the possibility of a playoff, but until they have one, there's always going to be what a lot of fans like, this whole controversy, the idea, my team's number 1 and their team's number 1. That's okay, that's all fun.
And guess what? We had co-champions in '97 with Nebraska and Michigan, and somehow we survived.
Yes, we did. The world turned.
I guess so, huh?
3rd down and about 10.5 here. Reggie Ball saw the backside or felt it, that pressure coming, but he's dropped after a gain of about 3 yards, so he hasn't been able to get his run game going either. Both these quarterbacks with outstanding run stats. Ball ran for 396 yards, Kilian for 642, but neither has been able to turn their running game on so far in this game.
Well, defensively, both teams have been outstanding using their speed, and it's really kind of shut things down here for both teams trying to get things done. Use your timeout now. Use your timeout so you can kick a field goal here.
4th down from the 28-yard line. And that's the final timeout for Georgia Tech. Well, the Sugar Bowl, you may have heard of it. It's the last game of the college season. It's tomorrow night on ABC, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 Pacific. The Nokia Sugar Bowl will match #1 Oklahoma, #2 LSU, according to the Bowl Championship Series rankings. Heisman Trophy winner Jason White will lead Oklahoma against LSU, playing in effect a home game down the road from Baton Rouge. 8 Eastern, Sunday night, ABC Sports.
Look at that. If you win the Heisman, you know, maybe you win the national title, maybe you don't. These guys, loss, then wins in the middle, Charlie Ward, Danny Werfel. Now, Jason White. What's going to happen? Will he win a national title?
Well, no, okay, here's your opportunity. Who do you like in the game? Who's going to win the game? Does Jason White win?
Well, are we talking Sonic Bowl Mania Challenge?
No, we're just talking, this is one game at a time.
I think, as good as LSU is, I think Oklahoma has a lot to prove after losing to Kansas State. I think they will really play well.
Well, let's see what the guys in the studio are going to say at halftime. Right now, Tulsa takes the time out here as Georgia Tech was getting ready for Dan Burnett to attempt a 46-yarder. He has a long of 48 in his career. P.J. Daniels, he's been the horse for the Yellow Jackets.
Well, he's had a little bit of everything. You toss it to him, get him outside. Doesn't need to take any ballet classes. He's got good feet outside, gets good blocking inside by Hugh Riley. Power and speed to get in. And when he finds a crease, he turns on the speed, just pressing down the accelerator. I don't know why he doesn't like that name Prince. That kind of works. Well,
Prince. He's actually said that he ultimately will decide to use that full name. He said he'll decide when he'll take over his full name, which is actually Prince and Prince Jr. Interesting guy. You know, he grew up in New Orleans. His mother was having some problems with him. His parents were divorced. She sent him to Houston to stay with his divorced father, whose name is Prince. That's how he got his name. And as PJ himself says, my dad taught me to be a man. And so he made his own choice to be a walk-on across the country at Georgia Tech. Had to work his way up from number 7 on the depth chart, and here he is having an outstanding year. P.J. Daniels.
Yeah, well, you know, when your dad teaches you to be a man, that means that dad set on you. Dad taught you what's wrong from right.
Well, our Aflac trivia question. This is kind of tricky. Georgia Tech is one of only 5 schools in NCAA Division 1A football that doesn't have the word university in its official title. Name the other 4.
All right, that's easy. Just don't think all schools. You can't, I mean, right, basketball, got to get rid of that.
You have to wait a little while. We'll come back in the second half and give you that answer. Georgia Tech is not Georgia Tech University, which is the first point of the trick question. And there's some others.
Institute of Technology.
You got it. Here's the field goal try from 46 yards out. And it is wide left. A 46-yard try. So Tulsa catches a break here and stays within striking distance. Georgia Tech takes a halftime lead into the locker room of 10-3, and we're going to go now to Reese Davis in our studios.
All right.
Welcome to Capital One's presentation of ESPN Bowl Week.
Back in beautiful Boise, Idaho, where they had fresh snow but a dry field for the first half of the Humanitarian Bowl, the ACC against the WAC. And it's been all P.J. Daniels, number 45 for the Yellow Jackets, 104 yards, and the only touchdown of the first half of play at the Humanitarian Bowl. Georgia Tech leads Tulsa 10-3. Well, I think we've had a disappointing performance, Rod Gilmore, from both the quarterbacks, really. Now, I know you'll say, well, these defenses have been awfully tough on them, but in the case of Kilian and perhaps even the freshman Reggie Ball, it looks like nerves have also played a role.
Well, speed can do that to you. I think we're seeing that
can
from
make you
both
nervous.
defenses, exactly. And Georgia Tech in particular, their linebackers have been outstanding, as good as advertised. The speed has been phenomenal. So it's something we'll see more of in the second half. Daniels, though, doesn't seem to be bothered by anything.
No, he sure doesn't. Daniels looks very much at home, and I guess all that meditation that he does is helpful to focus, as he says, his focus exercises, because he's focused well. 104 yards rushing for Georgia Tech, and the game's only score. The Yellow Jackets will kick it off to start this second half. Two deep men lined up. Eric Richardson and Donnie Johnson for Tulsa, and Tulsa desperately needs a big play. That's a good kickoff into the end zone and out, so they won't get their big play on the first kickoff return of the second half. They'll start from their 20.
Well, what we're finding is that Tulsa can't move the ball down the field on this offense, and they can't run the ball. I mean, look at there, minus 29. Of course, that includes sacks, but they're not running the ball, they're not passing the ball, and you're right. They're going to need big plays, big chunks, because this defense is too good, too fast for them to go 10, 12, 14 play drives.
Just one first down for the Golden Hurricane in that first half of play. James Kilian, junior quarterback, 5 of 11 for 49 yards. They start from the shotgun, and Kilian throwing it downfield, nearly picked up, intended for Colton, and knocked away by Houston. Let's go down to Heather Cox.
Well, guys, I talked to both coaches. For Coach Kragthorpe, he said, hey, we've got the plays, we're just not executing. He also said we've made a lot of protection adjustments, trying to get James Kilian a little bit more time to set his feet. Then he did add that he thinks the field is thawing a little bit. He hopes to see better footing in the second half. For Chan Gailey, he was very pleased with his defense and the ability to pressure the passer. He was offensively concerned with penalties and stressed that the run game will continue to be critical in the second half.
Well, I think that means we'll see a lot more of Daniels, who's already got more than 100 yards. All right, on second down, they give to Eric Richardson out the right side, and no running room for Richardson. Darrell Smith, the linebacker, as usual, right there. Tulsa's come from behind 6 times to win this season in their 8 victories, but I don't know that they've faced any kind of competition like they're facing here in this team from the ACC.
Well, they haven't faced a defense as fast. They did have a fourth quarter comeback win against a pretty good Hawaii team. That was a nice win, but this thing, they're facing a lot of speed on defense.
3rd and 9 situation, just over the 20-yard line. Straight drop from Kilian. Kilian finds a man, the tight end Blankenship. Blankenship has the first down out to the 31-yard line. Caleb Blankenship. Chris Reese made the tackle. Blankenship, the junior from Tulsa, with 30 catches. We talked about their tight ends. These are the receivers primarily.
Well, you talk about protection adjustment. Watch the back here. Watch Richardson pick up Houston on the blitz. That gives Kilian time to keep his feet, set his feet, and make the pass. And that's exactly what Heather was talking about in her report from Kragthorpe.
So they've got a first down, just their 2nd of the game. Oh, loose ball. Oh, it pops right into the hands of Richardson. Richardson tries to get back at least to the line of scrimmage, and he comes up short by a yard. So Kilian continues to have problems. And he was just dead lucky that ball popped right into the hands of Richardson. Watch this.
Yeah, he just dropped it, and then it got kicked.
Then he drop-kicked it.
I think the fullback kicked it coming across. No, it was Rumby Bryant coming across. Not a fullback, but he was in motion from left to right, and he hit his foot.
Well, the Hurricane lucky there. 2nd and 11. Now they come out in the eye, and now move Landrum out of it. And the pressure again on Kilian. He sees that coming this time, but is chased out at the 30-yard line. Again, about the line of scrimmage. Eric Henderson had the pursuit.
Yeah, but Key Fox was the man who got it going. 54 right up the middle, running past the center, putting pressure on Kilian right away. I mean, and Key Fox, everybody calls him Fox. That's a cool name, though.
It is,
Key
yeah.
Fox. But he's a bit of a talker.
Offense, 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. Replay, second down.
A late call and a hold against Tulsa, so all kinds of bad things happen.
Well, there's Key Fox right in the middle. And look at this. He's too quick, just much too quick for Jesse Stone on the left guard to even get a whiff of him.
That's where the hold came.
Yeah.
Who can blame him? He tried to tackle him.
Well, protect your quarterback any way you can.
2nd and 21 now from the 20-yard line.
2nd and 21.
Shotgun this time. Kilian is it out the right side. Not a lot of running room for Romby Bryant. And Tulsa still struggling here, trying to find the big play.
Well, the other thing that's happening is that Georgia Tech is gaining more confidence in their secondary. They don't believe that the Tulsa wide receivers can beat their corners in man coverage. So what do? They blitz all the time. I mean, just keep coming after them because you figure, hey, our guys can cover all day long, so we might as well send everybody else and get the quarterback.
Romby Bryant and Montez Colton, Jermaine Landrum, the 3 wide receivers, but as we mentioned at the top of the game, the 2 tight ends are their premium receivers. Mills with 50 catches, Blankenship with 30. Flag down. Some movement along the line of scrimmage.
Practice snap. False start. Offense.
Yet another false start.
5-yard penalty. Still. 3rd down.
Well, we're at the Humanitarian Bowl at Bronco Stadium in Boise, Idaho. Georgia Tech and Tulsa, the ACC against the WAC. Tim Ryan with Rod Gilmore and Heather Cox. Sunny skies after a beautiful night of fresh powder snow here in the Treasure Valley surrounding Boise, Idaho. 2 quarterbacks with a lot of talent, both struggling in this game, but Georgia Tech getting the run game from P.J. Daniels and a 7-3 lead over Tulsa. Kilian again in trouble and dropped from behind this time as he tried to escape. Chris Reese coming from the secondary. They've been bringing them from all angles, and Kilian has just been having a nightmarish start to this game as we're early in the 3rd quarter.
Now, this one was a coverage sack. He actually has time here. As you look down the field, Liz, nobody open anywhere. And so what happens? You run out of time to throw the ball.
So the punt comes from Court Moffitt. Jonathan Smith lets it bounce at the 40, and it rolls to about the 36-yard line, now down to the 35 of the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech. 10:55 to go in the 3rd quarter.
Hey, did you hear Trev Alberts at halftime talking about follow the rules when you vote? Coaches voting, it's stick with the rules, stick with the rules.
Yes, and your comment would be?
If the rules are wrong, don't go along. Johnny Cochran for you. I mean, you know, we have this history in this country of doing what we think is right, all the way back to the Boston Tea Party. If the rule stinks, you just don't go along with it. You do what's right under the circumstances.
All right, A.J. Suggs has come in at quarterback here for Georgia Tech. So Chan Gailey must be a little unhappy with Reggie Ball, even though he's got the lead, and P.J. Daniels doing his thing. Daniels down to the 3-yard line. Caught from behind by Kendrick Alexander, but a huge hole out the left side, 61 yards. Daniels with 104 yards rushing and a touchdown in the first half, and has Georgia Tech on the doorstep again.
Oh, great vision to get to the outside. Nice blocking inside, but P.J. Daniels made that one himself with his vision. He saw the hole to the outside, he slid out there, and then it was speed.
Now up to 165 yards on 19 carries. 1st and goal inside the 5. Daniels again. Batters his way off left guard, is dropped at the 3-yard line.
P.J. Daniels gets the hand.
Brandon Lohr made the tackle. Lohr's been a busy guy in there trying to stop Daniels, a 6', 250-pound junior. And let's go to Heather Cox.
Well, Tim, we have learned that Reggie Ball has a hip pointer. His return is questionable. Also, Kilian on the other side getting his left ankle taped. Don't forget, he's also recovering from that broken collarbone. Both quarterbacks in some bit of a trouble.
I would say so. Daniels blasting down to the goal line. Looked like he was down before he got to the end zone. No touchdown signal. He'll mark it at about the 1. Nick Bunting.
That was a pretty good spot by you.
Hit. What's that?
Here, you say didn't make it into the end zone. That's a great look. I mean, we're way up here. You got that right. I said, wow. You see Kilian, both quarterbacks, as Heather mentioned, being worked on. Kilian with the ankle and broke his collarbone in the San Jose State game. Missed most of that game.
3rd down, and this time touchdown. Daniels with his 2nd score of the game. Jimmy Dixon is fullback with the lead block, and Daniels picks up touchdown number 2 as the Yellow Jackets widen the lead. 169 yards now on 22 carries for this young man.
Well, back in the 1st quarter, we were talking about Hugh Riley, the center, and what a great job he was doing up front. And then we stopped talking about him because it got boring. He kept doing a great job. Now they go right back to him again to get the touchdown, run right behind him.
And the point after try is good. 65 yards in 4 plays. The big run by Daniels, and then this little 2-yard dive. And PJ picks up his 2nd TD. Tech up. Back in Boise at the H Bowl, as they call it, 17-3. Georgia Tech with the lead on the 2nd touchdown by PJ Daniels, this time from just a yard out. But he had a 61-yarder to set it up. It's been all Daniels for Georgia Tech. A.J. Suggs came in to start that series because of the injury, a hip pointer to Reggie Ball, so we await news on whether Ball will return. He struggled somewhat in the 1st half, but his team now has a comfortable lead. Burnett's kickoff. Another dandy, almost to the end line, so Tulsa will start from the 20-yard line.
Let's go back to the touchdown, and do me a favor this time. Just watch Hugh Riley. Just watch the center work here. He is dominating up front. He takes Brandon Lohr, moves him out of the play, and when you're on goal line and your center winds up 2 yards into the end zone, that's a pretty great job. And after he scored, PJ went over to the sideline and said hello to and hugged and thanked all of his linemen with good reason. 169 yards on the day already.
I'd say good reason. And we heard Chan Gailey talk about the talent of Hugh Riley when we talked to him last week by telephone, and he obviously knows he's got himself an outstanding center there. High snap for Kilian, but he pulled it down, and the give to Richardson gets only a couple. Eric Richardson has just had no running room. Jaros Wilkinson make the stop.
Okay, so if you're Tulsa, what do? I mean, you've got a defense that is this fast. You're shutting down your receivers. I think you got to go to more misdirection stuff. You got to have, in your pass plays, more double moves, something to get you away from the defensive backs. And in the run game, you got to do some counters. You got to go with some sweeps, some screens, double screens, things like that, so you can take advantage of their speed.
Wide receiver McQuiller comes out to the left. Kilian goes to the right. Romby Bryant, and a pickup of about 8 yards. Spotted at the 28-yard line, 2 yards short of the 1st down. Bryant had 43 catches. Coming into this game, and 8 touchdowns, a senior from Oklahoma City. Transfer from Northeast Oklahoma A&M.
Okay, he's got good speed, but he's facing guys in that secondary
every bit as fast.
Yeah, track guys.
Yeah.
We're talking about guys who can flat out run. Ruben Houston, Jonathan Cox can run, Dennis Davis.
Mansfield Rotto comes back into the game, the freshman tackle for Georgia Tech. The pitch here is to Richardson. And Richardson gets a little running room and a first down to the 34. Let's go down to Heather Cox.
With a very familiar face here in Boise, head coach Dan Hawkins. Coach, congratulations on your success. The last 2 years undefeated in WAC play, national rankings. What has that success done for this program?
Well, it's been great. It's given us national exposure around the country, and obviously ESPN, you guys have been awesome, and we've had a lot of exposure that way. But just been very fortunate to have a bunch of great staff guys and a bunch of great players as well.
And talk about a proponent of the WAC. You came out into the stadium cheering for Tulsa. The WAC right now 3-0. What would it do for the WAC to try and go 4-0 in the Bowls?
I think it's big. I mean, it's great. We're always trying to climb up the ladder a little bit, and teams in the non-BCS formula are trying to get into that category. And so, you know, hopefully Tulsa can get it going. And unfortunately, I think we got a big turnover going on right here. It's not going to help us. But I'd like to see Tulsa win, and then for us to get that trophy would be great for our conference.
And congratulations on the great Fourth Worth Bowl win as well, Coach.
Thank you very much. It was a great game for our program. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, not a great game, unfortunately, a great game or a play for Tulsa. That looked like a rugby scrum, the ball being passed out, except it was fumbled out about 3 times. Watch it again.
And guess where? A linebacker, Key Fox. Once again, speed off the corner, and then the presence of mind to reach for the ball-throwing hand and to strip Kilian.
And look at this, about 3 fumbles later, it's Jarris Wilkinson that comes up with it for Georgia Tech, and they are first and goal at the 8-yard line. Suggs continues at quarterback because of the hip pointer to Reggie Ball, and of course Tech comfortably ahead. Chris Woods gets some running back action. He had 4 good plays back in the first quarter, hasn't been in since with McDaniel rolling. And Woods trying the right tackle side, takes it wide, and Woods gets down near the 1-yard line. Sherman step-toe on the tackle.
And they're knocking on the door once again. I just want to go back to Heather's interview with Coach Hawkins for a quick second. I'm not sure how long he'll be a Boise State coach. They're going to have to open up the
Don't say
walls.
that around here. You're in Boise. They don't want to hear that news.
Well, the thing is, Oregon State went after him last year. Probably should have got him. Arizona was interested. I mean, everybody's looking at this guy. He's a hot property and will be for the next year or 2.
They give to Woods, and Woods diving. They got to the goal line. Touchdown. There's the signal for Chris Woods. And Georgia Tech jumps on that turnover. Kilian, when he was hit by Fox, losing the ball. Wilkinson recovering it. And Georgia Tech gives it to Chris Woods to take it in. The sophomore from College Park, Maryland, a transfer from Morris Brown.
Once again, good blocking up front, not great blocking. You had to do a little bit of work yourself that time in Woods because he was hit by a couple of defensive guys for Tulsa, and he just plowed his way in there. 8
yards in 2 plays. Point after is good. And the Yellow Jackets widen the lead to 24-3 with 7:06 remaining in the third. The ACC dominating Tulsa of the WAC to this point. Georgia Tech dominating Tulsa in every category and 24-3 on the scoreboard. And Tulsa, which allowed only 16 sacks all year long, 7 today, and we're still in the third period. And that was quite a turnaround from a year ago when they had 24 over the season. And to reduce that number, a great job by Steve Kragthorpe and his staff in many ways to their outstanding turnaround season of 8 victories and 4 defeats. But they are getting hammered here by this very speedy and talented defense of Georgia Tech. Richardson, nice move by Richardson. Good running, good return out to the 27-yard line where Mark Logan hauled him down. I know you can't wait to find out that Georgia Tech is one of only 5 schools in Division I-A football that doesn't have the word university in its official title, and who are the other 4? Well, hope you've been writing them down at home. Here they are. Army, Navy, Air Force. Doesn't that irritate you if you didn't think of that? And Boston College, the academies.
Yeah, I think if you started thinking academies, you're like, okay, I got it. But then the last, and you can't go with like Providence because
no football.
No football.
Right. 7 sacks for 57 yards. What can Kilian and company do? Brandon Dials is in it running back for them as they try to come up with something new and different here, although Richardson just had a nice kickoff return. This is Landrum, and they like to do it. The problem is Georgia Tech was waiting for it, a flag on the play. Darrell Smith made the tackle, and that's been an effective play all season long. Landrum with 226 yards rushing, mainly on that play.
Personal foul, face mask, 15 yards from the end of the run, first down.
Well, they get a break there with a personal foul face mask penalty, a 15-yarder.
Yeah, usually it's a 15-yarder if you hang on to the face mask instead of letting go immediately. If the head turns, yeah, and that was Darrell Smith, and he turned Landrum's head a little bit, and that's the reason for 15-yarder.
If the head turns, one learns.
You're learning. You got your own little going here. Okay, you're one up
down from the 40-yard line. Tulsa, they've been few and far between at first downs, and they needed the penalty for that one. Kilian lets it fly. It was close to the line of scrimmage. That's incomplete. And a reminder that tonight at 7:30 Eastern, the college basketball season continues with the All-College Classic here on ESPN. The SMU Mustangs will meet the Oklahoma State Cowboys tonight at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. For more news about it, log on to ESPN.com. Golden Hurricane just having all kinds of problems here against Georgia Tech.
Well, you know, we talk about the speed of Georgia Tech's defense, but the other thing is that these guys are incredibly disciplined. I mean, that reverse went nowhere on them because they're playing their assignments. They're following their rules, staying home.
Absolutely. Inside handoff for Dials. Nowhere to go there. Maybe a half-yard gain. Brandon Dials, a freshman running back from Abilene, Texas. Remember, Tulsa, their leading rusher 9 games into the season was Urel Parrish, 537 yards through 9 games, and he is out with injury through the remainder of the season, including this game. And that meant that Eric Richardson took over. Coming into this ball game, Richardson had 798 yards rushing, but they haven't been able to make him a factor at all. From the shotgun, Kilian hit just as he delivered the ball, intended for McQuiller. Chris Reese again with the heat. They just come from all sides. The linebackers, the backs, they're having a field day teeing off. They've got 7 sacks already and nearly had another.
Well, there he is. There's Reese, and he just comes in. Tight end delayed or slow blocked on him. That was Blankenship, and released him, and the ball wasn't gone.
Sunshine here in beautiful Boise. Snow on the sidelines, but a dry field as Moffitt hits the ball all the way down to the 10-yard line. So the Yellow Jackets will start deep in their own end after that 49-yard punt. And this is the way it's looked all day today. Pressure on Kilian, and Tech with the lead.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the 2004 Humanitarian Bowl. Brought to you by...
Welcome back to the H-Bowl, the Humanitarian Bowl here in Boise, Idaho, Bronco Stadium. That guy came dressed for the Snow Bowl. He's got his white helmet on, and it was snowing all night here. But he needs the shades now because the sun is out.
That's a throwback helmet.
202 yards for Georgia Tech. Of offense, only 26 for the Golden Hurricanes. Nothing more need be said about the progress of this game. And here's the guy who's been doing it all for Georgia Tech on the ground, P.J. Daniels, close to another first down, missing by about a yard. Robert Latou made the hit on him. Suggs continues at quarterback, the senior from Powder Springs, Georgia, number 17. And the word on Reggie Ball that he has a hip pointer, so Chan Gailey staying with Suggs, and of course a comfortable Yellow Jackets lead here in the third.
It's only the second time this season that AJ's been on the field, played after Ball suffered a concussion against Georgia.
Big hole for Daniels, breaking loose again. Out to midfield, down to the 45-yard line of the Golden Hurricane. Kedrick got him there, A 34-yard gain for Daniels. Everything about his runs have been at the point of attack. He just had these huge holes, and he's taken advantage.
Absolutely. Kyle Wallace, that side, number 77, the right tackle on the right side, just caved in his side. And that's the reason why P.J. Daniels is at 212 yards. I mean, whether it's been Hugh Riley at the center spot, or Kyle Wallace at the right tackle, or Nat Dorsey on the left tackle, they've had huge holes.
So first down at the 47-yard line. Daniels this time tripped up at the line of scrimmage by Michael Ledette, the linebacker number 27.
Well, it's been all Georgia Tech. Second half, a lot of P.J. Daniels. That 61-yard run set up the touchdown that he capped off there, and then a lot of pressure on the quarterback. That time you saw them get on in there with Keon Fox that forced a turnover, and then Chris Woods finished that one off with his own touchdown.
So it is second and about 9 at the 46-yard line of the Golden Hurricane. Suggs starts Jonathan Smith in motion. They give us to Daniels again. Why not? And he gets into the 39-yard line. It'll leave about 2 for a first, and let's go down to Heather Cox.
Well, a little bit more information on Reggie Ball. Yes, he does have that hip pointed. The trainers have been massaging it, trying to loosen it up. What I've been told is he is available based on the game situation, so he'd really only return if definitely needed. Fortunately for Tech, A.J. Suggs was the starter all last year, so this offense is comfortable with either quarterback, guys.
You have to feel for A.J. Suggs because he transferred to Georgia Tech expecting to be the guy and was the guy until Reggie Ball showed up.
Third down and a long 2. And Suggs sits on his first pass try to Jonathan Smith, who's driven back immediately. And let's see where the spot is. It'll be close to the first down yardage. But we won't make that call at the moment.
Jonathan Smith, 4-yard gain.
And yes, they're going to signal first down.
There was a possibility of a late hit. Watch the very end, 96, John Meal with the shoulder to the upper body.
I think this Hurricane team getting a little bit frustrated. And I think Georgia Tech got maybe the benefit of a good mark there, but they have a first down at the 36-yard line in Tulsa territory again. Daniels tries to go wide, and he is dropped this time, and it's Nick Bunting, that active linebacker, making another good play. You know something, Rod? Just had this stat handed to me here. The team rushing record for Georgia Tech in a bowl game in their history, 199 yards, and it was against Tulsa in that 1944 Sugar Bowl game that we showed some clips from. Well, obviously you already know that that's been shattered, and it's been shattered by one man, Daniels.
Yeah. That's old Prince.
Old Prince.
Old Prince.
He's not the old Prince yet. He's the young Prince, because his father is still the older Prince.
Okay.
Suggs completes that pass on the right side, and that is Ajanavi Ezemefi getting his first action of the game. 6'1" sophomore from New Orleans.
I don't know. I kind of like P.J. Daniels as the running back formerly known as Prince. He can go back to using Prince when he's older if he wants.
You know that's going to come, too.
But see, look at this chart. This is Riley right here. When you go there, that's number 67. And when you go over to the other side, it's number 70, Nat Dorsey. And Dorsey and Hugh Riley have opened up the biggest holes for P.J. Daniels.
Daniels again with a big hole off right tackle, pulls his way down, trying to get to the end zone. Touchdown! Pushed in, actually. So another score, third touchdown of the day, a 33-yard run by Daniels, and Kendrick Alexander just trying to knock him over, wound up knocking him into the end zone.
Watch him finish it. That was Sherman's step toe.
Andy Tidwell Neal opened the big hole for him and sprung him loose.
Yeah.
Dan Burnett.
P.J. Daniels finished that one off.
Man, did he ever. Oh. Ran over folks. Point after is good. And the Yellow Jackets beating up on the Golden Hurricane of the WAC. ACC dominance 31-3. We're still in the third.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the 2004 Humanitarian Bowl. Brought to you by OfficeMax. This holiday season, give gifts that work from OfficeMax.
Beautiful view of the surrounding countryside at the 7th annual Humanitarian Bowl, named for the Humanitarian Sports Hall of Fame here in Boise. It's how it all started 7 years ago. Georgia Tech with a commanding lead over Tulsa. P.J. Daniels with 254 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, 28 carries, and that is the second best ever rushing performance by any Georgia Tech running back in its long, distinguished history. And the man who holds the record for one game is the great Eddie Lee Ivery. His son is a true freshman, a redshirt freshman, I should say, on the Georgia Tech team this year. Eric Richardson won't bring it out. Tulsa will start from their 20-yard line.
Well, for Tulsa, it's all about protection for the quarterback, Kilian. Find a way to get him a little bit of time. And that has been tough. Chan Gailey has turned his defense loose. They've been running all over the field. They've sent everybody after Kilian. You know, whether it's a strong safety, cornerback blitz, a linebacker, everybody's been in the backfield today.
8 out of 17 for just 73 yards. 7 times he's been sacked for a loss of 57. Shotgun. That's complete. Out to Landrum. Landrum trying to get loose. Still going. Landrum, good effort, has the first down yardage before he's driven back. Darrell Smith, no surprise. The speedy linebacker there to wrap him up, but a good job by Jermaine Landrum. 12-yard pickup for the 5'9" junior from Vinita, Oklahoma.
And Landrum had a great high school career. And his high school coach said, you know, he had been 6'2". Everybody in the country would have wanted him, but he's not that big. He's only 5'9", $158, $157. Didn't have a lot of scholarship offers.
Quiller comes out to the left side. Landrum to the top of your screen on the right. Now in motion behind the ball. Kilian goes to the right, tripped up the line of scrimmage by Jarris Wilkinson, the defensive end, number 49.
Now Kilian running the ball is not something we've seen much of today, and he did it a lot during the season. Over 600 yards rushing coming into this game, but the speed of the Georgia Tech defense has really taken away Kilian's ability to run. I mean, just can't use him.
And I asked him how fast he is. He says, I'm about 4'7" for the 40, but what he's done well all season long is he's seen the opportunities and he starts to run at the right moment when the gaps are there. But remember now, he's limping a bit with an ankle we saw being wrapped back in the second quarter.
These gaps are closing quickly, though, with this fast defense that he's facing.
Timeout on the field. P.J. Daniels has been the story of the game in every possible way in this game. 254 yards and 3 touchdowns. Tech 31-3. 31-3 here to begin the 4th period at the Humanitarian Bowl in Boise, Idaho. Sunny skies after 4 inches of new snow fell last night. Temperatures have been in the high 20s, but it hasn't bothered the southern kids from Georgia and Florida that make up most of the lineup. A few Texans in there for Georgia Tech. They seem to have adapted very well to the climate here in Boise.
Yeah, they had a few guys from Florida, though, who had never seen snow. They were pretty excited about it.
So Tulsa, Kilian trying to get something going. Nice catch out the right side by Garrett Mills, the leading receiver, the tight end sophomore from Tulsa.
Pass completion to number 20.
And he has a first down. Very hard to come by.
Very nice read by Kilian. Georgia Tech slanted their front 4 to the left. He immediately recognized that meant that the secondary coverage would rotate the opposite way. So what did he do? He went back to the right side and threw the ball. Nice job.
And a first down, Tulsa at their own 43-yard line. Eric Wareheim, the center, pointing out where he expects these blitzes that have been coming all day to come from, and they get good protection for Kilian going deep at double coverage, and it's knocked away. It was Romby Bryant, the intended receiver, and Reuben Houston on the coverage. Butler got a hand on it to knock it down.
Yeah, Kilian just took the shot because he wanted to get one out there, a little bit frustrated. Double coverage, Butler back there, and Reuben Houston. That's a good job of your free safety coming over to help out when he's got the middle of the field to himself. He just finds out where the problem is and go help out.
Butler, the junior from Climax, Georgia, 6'3", 210-pounder. This guy's the real deal. 5 picks this year, 116 tackles, very active guy, very talented.
Saw him against North Carolina State, and he just was all over the field.
Jermaine Landrum takes the snap as the quarterback, and the fumble on the exchange, and it may be Georgia Tech ball. Joe Anawai, and it is. The Yellow Jackets recover the fumble on the exchange of the pass from Landrum, a former quarterback, and they stick him in there trying to make something happen. And the first play is a disaster. Watch it here.
Yeah, Tulsa will have a chance to recover this. There you see it on the ground. Landrum can't get it. And then Georgia Tech's right on top.
Richardson was the intended ball carrier on the exchange from Landrum. But of course, that's the first exchange they've had in the game, and it's Yellow Jackets ball, first down at the 38-yard line of Tulsa. Some more problems for the Golden Hurricane. Suggs the handout for, here's another big hole. Daniels is going to get his 4th touchdown. P.J. Daniels, 38 yards. Another costly turnover sets it up for Tech, and in one play, Daniels picks up his 4th score to make it 37-3.
Well, just watch the blocking here and watch him find his hole and get going. I mean, great job. Look at that huge hole there, and then a kick-out block coming around from right to left. That's Brad Honeycutt, who went from right to left with the kick-out block after the big hole was already created on that side.
29 carries, 292 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Christian Schroeder will attempt the point after, so he gets a shot and makes it good.
14 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the game.
A 38-yard touchdown run, another huge hole for Daniels, 38-3 early in the 4th. Georgia Tech, more than commanding lead, 38-3, 4-touchdown performance by P.J. Daniels. 14-10 still remain here in regulation time, and somehow I don't feel we'll be looking at overtime.
Pretty good start to the new year for P.J. Daniels.
That is for sure. The young man who gets his meditation in the morning is obviously focused here in the cold weather of Boise, Idaho, and turned in a 4-touchdown performance. Dan Burnett's kickoff. Going to be Donnie Johnson, and he drops it but brings it out from just inside the goal line, but he's met there at the 10. Jimmy Dixon on the hit.
P.J. Daniels walked on at Georgia Tech, was number 7 on the depth chart. Worth fullback number 114, and today 4 touchdowns. Saw the first 2, and how about the 3rd one? Speed and power to finish off the run. And the last one was no contest as his offensive line opened up a huge hole for him, and he just turned on the Jets.
Quite a day. 292 yards for that young man.
Hey, Daddy. Everybody else, all my family, I love y'all.
Kid. What a nice guy. We had a chance to chat with him briefly yesterday. Very personable. Great story coming all the way from Houston, Texas. To walk on and climb his way over 6 guys ahead of him at tailback. Kilian back in at quarterback, and the give is inside to Richardson. Richardson gets out about 3 yards to the 15, and let's go down again to Heather Cox.
Tim, PJ's 292 yards are the 2nd best ever in school history. The best, Eddie Lee Ivery's 356 yards against Air Force back in 1976. At the time, it was an NCAA record. Now Eddie Lee Ivery, an assistant strength coach with the team. That Mark said at Air Force was in a blinding snowstorm, and somehow Eddie Lee was prophetic this week, because all week long PJ told me that he teased him about breaking the record in the snow. The snow must be the good luck for the Yellow Jackets.
My guess is that Ivory probably had a little more snow on the field than PJ did today. It's been a good dry field almost from the kickoff. Although there's snow on the sidelines, they did a great job of cleaning it all off before game time, and the sun's been out since then.
Well, PJ's performance is really kind of overshadowing a great performance by the defense. Take a look at the snow out there.
That's going to leave third and about 4.
But you just want to jump in one of those piles of snow?
I get to do that most days if I choose to, usually with my skis on, though. But you Californians, I understand that looks very appealing, and it's nice fresh powder snow, the high dry air out here in the Boise area, all around the surrounding mountains and great ski areas. Kilian forced out, takes off, drops the ball again. He is stripped by Darrell Smith. DeJuan Landry picked it up. We're just waiting for the signal, and there it is. It is Georgia Tech ball. Didn't seem to be any doubt. Just a late signal from the officials, and so once again another turnover, and Tech will have it at the 21-yard line.
Kilian just does not protect the football here. Doesn't put it away in the middle of the field, and given that we're in the 4th quarter and he's had trouble with guys coming from all angles, you'd think he'd understand now. Put the ball away. That defense is too fast, too quick. You don't know when they're going to show up. You got to protect the football.
And now Tech has brought in Bryant Camp at quarterback, number 10, a senior from Dublin, Ohio. So they've gone 3 deep here with the injury to Reggie Ball. They had Suggs in. Now they're giving Camp an opportunity here as the route is on in the 4th. And the pickup by Daniels moves the ball down to about the 15-yard line. So Brian Camp, 6'1", 225-pounder. Obviously a backup quarterback here, kind of down the list at Georgia Tech, but Chan Gailey giving him some time here in the 4th.
Great deal for him. You know, you've been on the team all these years. You don't get much of a chance to play. Now you're in a bowl game and you get to get on the field.
Let him throw the ball, that's what I say.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah. Nah.
You're worried about rubbing him in, but here's Daniels. He can rub it in all by himself. Inside the 5 he goes. Like I said, let him throw the ball.
Now, see, it's legitimate to let TJ, and just look at the great blocking up front. You know, right there, 76 on the right side, one of the backup guys, Slave Bezarevic, getting in there, good blocking. My goodness. I mean, whoever they put in at the offensive line spot has responded with a great performance.
Jermaine Hatch is in at running back now, a senior from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, number 6. And they give him a shot. He's met behind the line, but drives hard, pushing the tackler back over the 5-yard line to the 4.
Now they've got the 2nd string line in there. 2nd string running backs, 3rd string quarterback, and they're threatening for a touchdown following a turnover. To me, that's all right. I mean, they're not throwing the ball here. They're just running their plays. And Tulsa's got to respond. It's not running up the score when you do it like this.
2nd and goal. Hatch, the running back, getting his opportunity. Camp gives it to Hatch again. Hatch gets a couple, keeps digging hard, gets down close to the 2-yard line. Shannon Carter comes up to lead the tacklers, along with Michael Ledet, the linebacker, number 27. Long day for the Hurricane defense.
And Carter has gotten a workout. Shannon Carter, the former minor league baseball player, was drafted out of high school in the 4th round by the Baltimore Orioles and then traded to the Toronto Blue Jays, where his cousin, Joe Carter, I think he did pretty well in the World Series once.
Yes, he did. Yeah, in fact, he's also related, distant cousin to Chris Carter, the football player. So those Carters got a lot of ability in several sports. And Hatch in for the score. Jermaine Hatch. Did they roll him down? Down at the 1-yard line. He got into the end zone, but they haven't given him the touchdown. It'll be 4th and about a yard, less than a yard. Let's see if they go to Hatch again here on 4th down. Jermaine Hatch, a 4-deep running back. His inspiration would be Daniels, who was number 7 on the list and got to be, well, he got to be P.J. Daniels.
Now, Chan Gailey is giving his guys a chance to get a touchdown. His backups been in this entire drive. They're trying to get him a score.
And it's going to be Hatch, and he dives in, and there's a single touchdown for Jermaine Hatch.
Touchdown, Georgia Tech.
So Georgia Tech takes advantage of yet another turnover by the Golden Hurricane, and it's a backup running back, Jermaine Hatch, taking it in for the score. 44-3 with the extra point coming. 9:07 still remains in the 4th.
Good surge up front, and then Hatch, feeling that the right area was on the right side, got enough of it to get in. Just got the ball across the plane. That's all you need.
Christian Schroeder will try his 2nd point after, and he drills that one. Man, it's right out of the ballpark. And extends the lead to 45-3. Well, we're going to be talking to one of the great receivers of all time in college football and the pros, former Tulsa star Steve Largent, when we come back. Sometimes the scoreboard doesn't tell at all. This one, unfortunately for Tulsa and its fans, does. 45-3. It has been a rout. Georgia Tech has dominated, primarily thanks to the running of P.J. Daniels, 307 yards on 31 carries, 4 touchdowns. Brilliant performance by him today, and a strong defense that just has completely shackled the Golden Hurricane, both on the ground and in the air. Eric Richardson's return over the 20, dancing well, gets to the 27-yard line. But we'd like to welcome the former great star at Tulsa as a receiver, and then in the pros with Seattle Seahawks, Steve Largent. Steve, nice for you to join us by telephone.
Well, Tim, thank you. I wish it was for under better circumstances for the University of Tulsa.
Well, we feel badly about bringing you on, looking at your team down so far here, but nonetheless, you've got to feel that Steve Kragthorpe has done a great job in turning this team around and trying to restore it to the glory days of yore.
Well, you know what? He's done a fantastic job, and actually today's game is not characteristic of the Tulsa team that we've seen all season. They have been a team that has not beaten themselves, unlike today. But I tell you, everybody in Tulsa and all the alumni and lettermen are very excited about what Coach Kragthorpe's been able to do in 1 year's time. And I think you got to feel particularly good for a lot of these guys who are seniors this year that, over the course of the last 2 years, they've won 2 games and come in first year and win 8 games. It's just been a fantastic season for the university.
Steve, I was impressed to find that he has done a great job of bringing some of the former players back into the program, yourself, Drew Pearson, and others. Can you tell us a little bit about that, what that's like?
Well, I tell you, Coach Kragthorpe is a very humble guy, but he's got a great vision, a great focus, and he's brought a level of intensity to the program that's been missing for a long time. And I think the fact that he's reaching out to the alumni and the lettermen of old and getting everybody to participate has been really encouraging to us, but I think it's been helpful to the program as well. And I think you're exactly right that Coach Kragthorpe, what he's trying to do is kind of bring the university football program, which many people were concerned was about to be axed, bringing it back and regaining some of the polish that we've had in the past.
Steve, you were one of the great receivers of all time there. Of course, Howard Twilley finished second in the Heisman when he was a star at Tulsa. And I know that, when you look and see that they obviously need some more wideouts, and that's going to be, I would think, a focus of their recruiting. Is that something he's talked to you about?
Well, it will definitely be a focus of the recruiting, and certainly after having a year like this, his recruiting staff is going to be a lot more productive. But what they really need, and if you can see it in this game today, is they need some big guys. They've got to get bigger offensive line and in particular, bigger defensive line. you can see that, you know, today's effort that, you know, they're outmanned. And so I think gaining some size in that interior line, particularly on defense, is going to be the focus of his recruiting efforts this year.
You have to admire the fact that he recognized that right off the bat and went to that 3-3-5 defense, because there's a shortage of big guys to play defensive line for him.
Yeah, and, you know, the truth is they've really been outmatched the entire season, but they've played very smart football. They've played football where they haven't beaten themselves, unlike today, and they've been productive. You know, Coach Kragthorpe gets those guys into the position to make plays, and you know, sometimes they're playing against teams that have better athletes or bigger athletes, and you know, you can't do anything about that. But like I said, they play smart football. They're very well coached, and I think the future is very bright for the University of Tulsa.
Steve, just one personal note as we see you in your days here on some older footage, we'll say. A guy that was kind of glue-fingered. That's the way I always think of you. You just hardly made any drops at all. But I think it's great for people to see athletes go on to other lives after their careers. You becoming a congressman, of course, from Oklahoma, which was a great achievement on your part. And what's next for Steve Largent?
Well, currently, Jim, I'm working as the president and CEO of the Wireless Trade Association in Washington, D.C., and it's a great industry and something that I feel like is really fits my personality as well as my experiences. But I would tell you, Tim, that I think my education that I got at the University of Tulsa has really enabled me to, you know, take my game to the next level, if you will, and I will always remember that, and I'm proud to say that I'm a University of Tulsa alumnus.
Steve, any particular moment during your playing career at Tulsa that stands out, whether it's a play or a game? Anything you recall at the moment?
You know, ironically, it would be my freshman year, because when I came out of high school, I was not a real highly recruited player, but my freshman year was kind of a breakout year for me. Even though that was the first year that freshmen could participate in the varsity level, we still played a freshman schedule. And I just really had a lot of fun and you know, just gained a lot of confidence in myself. And a lot of that had to do with the coaching that I received. Jerry Rome was my college coach for 3 years, and he just really instilled a lot of confidence in myself, and as well as given me some ability to understand the game and perform at a higher level.
All right, Steve, well, thank you for joining us. We know that they're real thrilled to have you back and staying involved and interested along with the other great stars of the past. And we thank you for joining us by phone, and it doesn't take anything away from their great season that they're getting beat by a good team from Georgia Tech today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Tim.
All right. The injured player down is strong safety DeJuan Landry, and they're attending to him very carefully down near the 10-yard line. And meanwhile, Paul Smith, the freshman quarterback, replaced James Kilian at quarterback for Tulsa, leading this drive deep into Georgia Tech territory at the 13. And we're glad to see Landry up on his feet and leaving the field. And there's Paul Smith, 6'2", 175-pound freshman from Owasso, Oklahoma. And he set all kinds of records in high school, career records at that high school in Owasso, passing for 9,500 yards and 83 touchdowns over his career.
He had a big game earlier this year when he stepped in for James Kilian in the San Jose State game after Kilian broke his collarbone.
He's 3 for 3 in this drive, and Paul Smith up the middle, that connects. It's Garrett Mills, the tight end, touchdown. So helped by one long play and a penalty against Georgia Tech. Paul Smith, the freshman quarterback, pays it off with a touchdown strike to Blankenship. To Garrett Mills, pardon me, number 20, Garrett Mills.
And what a surprise, he goes to a tight end. Coming into the ball game, the combination of Garrett Mills and Caleb Blankenship had 80 catches. Here's another one for a touchdown on a crossing route.
So 4 for 4, Paul Smith, and a touchdown pass coming in for James Kilian. Late in the game here, we're in the fourth quarter, and the freshman gets his opportunity to show his wares. Point after is good from Brad DeVault. And Tulsa finally gets a major score with 6:45 to go. They trail 45-10.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the 2004 Humanitarian Bowl. Brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun.
Well, in this glut of bowl games that have been going on, this is the last bowl game before the last bowl game. And it's the only one today. Georgia Tech leads it from the ACC over the Wax Tulsa, 45-10, as we await the kickoff following the first score by Tulsa into the end zone with a touchdown, and it came on the pass to Garrett Mills from Paul Smith, the freshman quarterback from Owasso, Oklahoma. Smith 4 for 4 on that drive. Kickoff goes out of bounds just inside the 5-yard line, and let's go down to Heather Cox.
I'm joined by the honorary captain, Rocky Blyer, of the Humanitarian Bowl, and talk about somebody that just epitomizes the true meaning of this game. Of course, 4 Super Bowls with the Pittsburgh, but also with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but also Purple Heart with Vietnam. Now, first thing I've got to ask you is, did you spend a little extra time with Georgia Tech and PJ Daniels motivating them last night?
We had a dinner Thursday night beyond the game, and I had a chance then to talk to Chan Gailey, their head coach, who was at Pittsburgh as an assistant coach, and I got to talk to PJ, and I was telling PJ that, you know, in one game, I had gained over 300 yards rushing. I was 9 years old in the game, but he took it to heart and he said, "I'm going to beat you." No, I was only kidding you, but what a wonderful game that he's had, and what a difference in the game by one person, and the effort that offensive line gave him.
It truly has been remarkable. Now, when we look at your career, there's just so much that you can talk about, the pro career, but also the collegiate career at Notre Dame. What does it mean to you to be able to be back in the college game by being the honorary captain today?
Well, you know, this is what the game's all about. You know, the competition with between two schools, and what it means for these seniors specifically of this is going to be their last game. College football for me was the same kind of a thing. It was you know, it was the pure part of the game until you went into the pros, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But the effort that was shown today, you know, is what the game's all about. The Humanitarian Bowl, and what a great place this is to be able to hold one, and to show what these two teams can do and what college football is all about.
Well, and we certainly have the best seat in the house for that. We thank you for your time. I know both teams loved having you here this week.
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you.
Thanks, Rocky Blyer.
Rocky Blyer, fellow Domer. You knew I was going to get that in, didn't you?
All I know is that he looks great.
Yeah, he does look great.
Hey, does it get any better? We get Steve Largent on the phone, Rocky Blyer on the field, and we got snow and kids playing in the snow and a guy rushing for over 300 yards. That's a pretty good day, you know? 307
for Daniels, and there's Rocky Blyer. He could run that ball, and just a good man, a motivational speaker now. Has written a book that everybody ought to read. There's some kids enjoying the snow, with the outcome no longer in doubt here. Might as well have some fun along the sidelines. Brian Kemp continues at quarterback for Georgia Tech. Third quarterback we've seen. Reggie Ball started, except for the hip pointer. A.J. Suggs came in, but Daniels was giving them so much of a lead that the quarterbacks really have not been the critical factor that they normally are. Chris Woods getting the time at running back.
Did I tell you about my white flag rule?
No. I'd like to hear it, though.
Oh. I thought I told you.
Is it another civil disobedience rule?
not really. We have to teach Trev Alberts about civil disobedience. But as far as the white flag rule goes, it only applies in a blowout situation.
Yes.
If you're the losing team,
yeah,
and you essentially wave the white flag, you don't blitz, you don't throw deep balls, then the team that's ahead, they will respect that. They'll honor that. They won't go after you. They won't run up the score.
Right.
White flag.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, some coaches probably won't agree. We'll be right back to see if they do. A big day for Georgia Tech. They'll finish over 500 with this imminent victory over Tulsa, and here are the reasons why. They're all lumped up into one name. P.J. Daniels, 307 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an outstanding defense that has stifled the Golden Hurricane. With the subs in, Paul Smith sacked, and a Georgia Tech ball. Omar Billy knocked the ball out of the hands of the quarterback, Smith. And you can see Joe Anawai involved in getting his hands on that ball after Billy was the guy who knocked it loose. Showed his excitement. One of the backups.
Yep, it goes to my white flag rule. See, just you run the football here and finish off the game, not an issue.
Anawai diving on the loose ball. Yeah, you're starting to convince me. Rod?
But take a look at the game summary. It's been P.J. Daniels over 300 yards, and Reggie Ball out most of the second half with the hip pointer. A few turnovers.
Jermaine Hatch remains the running back. Tulsa showing blitz here. They give it to Hatch. Hatch already has a touchdown, and he gets that same nice blocking that Daniels had, and takes it down to the 16-yard line. Well, the ACC already at 4-1, 6 teams in the bowls with this victory by Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
They're going to surpass the WAC.
4-1 there.
On percentage basis.
That's going to go to 5-1. So the ACC becomes your champ. They get the ESPN trophy.
Yeah, 3-1 actually for the WAC.
What did I say? 4-1?
Yeah, but
I can't matter. I didn't go to Notre Dame.
Well, have you got a rule for that? He went to Stanford. You think I'm not going to let you get away with that? Hatch gets down about the 12-yard line. And obviously Tech going to keep it on the ground here. 3:36 and counting down. Jason Wiltshire back up. Safety made the stop for Tulsa.
Hatch was supposed to be the guy. Everybody thought he was going to be the big-time running back at Georgia Tech. Suffered an injury, created an opportunity for P.J. Daniels, and guess what? P.J. took advantage of it.
Boy, did he ever. From number 7 to number 1. It'll be hard to dislodge him from that. Just a sophomore, P.J. Daniels.
2nd and 7.
2nd and 7 inside the 15-yard line. Brian Kemp gives it to Hatch again. Hatch straight ahead and gets down to about the 7-yard line. Met there by Max Krause.
Yeah, Tim, if you think about Georgia Tech next season, what's it look like? Well, they should be good. The problem is they're going to lose those outstanding linebackers. And the guys that were so dominant today, Key Fox, Daryl Smith, and Arthur Brown, all 3 of them seniors, will leave, and they'll have to replace them. Now, one of the things that they will do is probably move Garris Wilkinson back to linebacker. He was playing defensive end. He's a little bit undersized for the defensive end spot.
Garris Wilkinson showed a lot of talent here today. Here is Hatch, and Hatch trying to get to the end zone. He does with his knee down, looking for a signal, and they don't give it to him. Yes, they do. They change their mind. Upon review, touchdown Hatch. A late signal, but a touchdown, his 2nd of the game.
For number 6, Jermaine Hatch.
So Hatch with a pair here in the 4th. 8 rushing touchdowns in this game. And miscues by Tulsa, turnovers. Georgia Tech jumping all over them when they picked up those fumbles. Setting up this game score into the 50s now. It'll be 52 if the point after is good. Christian Schroeder, he's 3 for 3 in that department. 52 to 10 with 2:11 to play here in the game.
Oh, you go back to the touchdown, and Hatch is the beneficiary of the same kind of blocking up front. Just watch these guys. Start with your center and move to the right side. Clear out, seal one, let the fullback come in as well. Guess what? Touchdown. And no matter who has played in the offensive line, they've responded, and responded very well. You'd think that coaches would know by now, late in the game, you got to look for the Gatorade bag. Anytime it's late in the game and you're winning and a player comes to talk to you, you're going to
go the other way.
Yeah.
Get your headset off so you're not tethered there.
Yeah, because one guy is talking to you just to distract you so the others can throw the water on you.
27 yards, again off the turnover, 5 lost fumbles, 35 Georgia Tech points today. So Tulsa has just been shooting themselves in the feet all day long and overpowered by the Tech defense. Just been a long day for the WAC. But again, and it's not just one of these kind of, make them feel good comments. You cannot overlook the season because it's been a terrific turnaround. 8-4, a team that had won only 2 games in 2 seasons goes 8-4 this year under their rookie coach, Steve Kragthorpe, and his staff. And they deserve great credit for that. And let's hope that that's what they take home from Boise and just kind of forget this game, look at next year.
Well, he changed the attitude here. That was the big thing.
Michael Ledette, the linebacker, got that squib and returned it to the 24. We want to remind you about Big Monday, the college basketball season in full swing, and Big Monday on ESPN, highlighted by two great games. First at 7 Eastern, Brandon Mouton at 17th ranked Texas against Ryan Gomes and Providence. And at 9 Eastern, Wayne Simeon, Keith Langford, and the 13th ranked Kansas Jayhawks. They'll meet the Colorado Buffaloes. Big Monday, presented by Bud Light on ESPN. For more, log on to ESPN.com.
You know, when we were talking to Steve Kragthorpe, we asked him, when did he know that his team had bought into what he was trying to sell to them? The system, his philosophy, and everything. More pressure.
Paul Smith is sacked, and this time Joe Anawai is the sacker. And that is 6 on the game. They had 7 in the first half, but they, upon review, took away 2 of those to make it an official 5, but they get 1 more here in the second.
And getting back to the story, when we asked him, well, when did he know that his team was buying into it? He said it was after they beat Arkansas State 54-7. So what do you mean? He said, well, they weren't happy. They were not satisfied. They felt like they won the game, but they played poorly. He heard some of the guys on the bus calling friends, accepting congratulations, but saying, we didn't play that well. And that's when he said, I think we have them. They bought into it.
Smith going to the deep man down near the 35-yard line, Montez Colton. And that's a complete pass right at the sideline and very near the marker. 17 yards. After the sack, they may have made it all up. They did for a first down. So the freshman quarterback gets something going here for the second time. Paul Smith, freshman from Owasso, Oklahoma.
Now, if you observe my white flag rule, there's been no running up of the score here. That's because Tulsa was throwing the ball and quarterback was running, and you get the turnover. And now you get the ball twice in the red zone, and you got to score.
It's kind of like the East-West game rules, isn't it? I mean, what you're suggesting. And a loose ball recovered by Georgia Tech. Jonathan Smith, playing at quarterback, recovers the ball for Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech.
And Steve Kragthorpe can only look on in further dismay as the freshman quarterback doing a pretty good job and nothing good happening for him anyway.
This is just
Landrum.
Yep, Landrum getting stripped by Jonathan Smith, who shouldn't be on the field. Remember, he's a wide receiver.
After the play was ruled dead, personal foul, Georgia Tech, 15-yard penalty, first down.
But they retained possession, and Jonathan Smith stepped in at cornerback at the beginning of this series. A wide receiver and a great athlete. We talked about him earlier, all of the things he has done. He's the top receiver, and in fact, the career best one-year receiver at Georgia Tech. And showing his skills as a cornerback, winds up stripping the ball, grabbing it for Georgia Tech. And now Robbie Brown gets some quarterback time, number 9, as Chris Smith, the ball carrier, is dropped for a loss. Let's go down to Heather Cox.
Tim, you're talking about Jonathan Smith. The entire reason he is playing defense, he's never done it before. He went to coach and said, come on, coach, we're up big. I'm a senior. Let me play a little safety. And sure enough, he said, okay, coach was feeling a little bit guilty that they hadn't passed the ball a whole lot. It's been mostly a running day, so not a lot of action to Smith until just now.
That's great, Heather. Good reporting work down there, digging that out from Argyle, Georgia. They didn't even have a stop sign in his town or a red light. And so he is a big man in Argyle, Georgia. He'll be bigger now, the senior. And this is Chris Woods again, number 24, the 5'10" sophomore from College Park, Maryland. Picks up about 4. Robbie Brown is a junior from Blairsville, Georgia, now at quarterback. 4 quarterbacks we've seen from Tech as they're just going to let this one wind out. And Georgia Tech rolls to a 52-10 victory. The ACC team over Tulsa, the second-place team in the WAC this year. Chan Gailey offering words of condolence to Steve Kragthorpe, and no doubt saying, hey, you did a great job turning this program around. you know, just leave this one behind.
Well, he's right. They're not done yet. Tulsa had a tremendous season. I have a feeling that this program at Tulsa is only going to get better.
You know, this is always a great look here. All of these players are out on the field congratulating each other after the bowl game. And, you know, that's a tradition that always takes me back to Stanley Cup hockey playoffs. I'd love to see that. And that's what a bowl game ought to be about here. All of the players participating, the game's over, go out there and shake hands and say, well played, it was fun doing this. They've had a great time here in Boise, Idaho this week. And right now, let's take it back down to Heather.
And I am with Chan Gailey and PJ Daniels. An incredible performance. And yes, Coach is very happy. He just told me he's cold, so that's why he's not looking as happy as you are now. Coach, you told me you were a little bit worried about all the different formations that Tulsa would show you. How did you get your defense to play so well in this game?
Well, anytime you have a long time to get ready for somebody, you can really hone in on what they do. And I thought our defensive players and staff really honed in on what they were trying to do offensively.
What did you do to create such incredible ball pressure, especially on the passer, and create so many turnovers?
Well, our speed on defense is what's carried us all year, and I think our speed showed up here. Pass rush and different looks, people being able to drop and rush.
Congratulations on a great win. A great way to go into the offseason, Coach. Congrats. And the leader on the field, PJ Daniels, incredible 4 touchdowns in this game. At what point did you know this would be a special day for you?
I don't know. You know, God just gave me, you know, the strength and the power to do everything I could, and I can't take all the credit. I got to give it to my O-line. So my O-line paved the way, and they, you know, they did a great job for me, so I can't take all the credit.
As we take a quick look at all those 4 touchdowns, you know, the defense did a nice job, too, getting you back on the field so much. Where did you find all those openings?
By my O-line, you know, my O-line, they just paved the way. It was holes that was just so big, you know, and I can't thank them enough. You know, my fullback, Jimmy Dixon, he did a great job of blocking, too. So I got to give it to everybody. Even my wide receivers, they did a great job, you know. Everybody, we just came together and played as a team, you know. We came out with a victory, so.
Congratulations on a very impressive day, PJ. Let's go back upstairs.
Thank you, Heather. Congratulations, PJ. And Georgia Tech goes to 7-6 to complete their season with a victory in the Humanitarian Bowl.
I thought it was a special performance by Georgia Tech. We talk about PJ Daniels and what he did, but you can't overlook the defense, the speed, the way the linebackers played, particularly Key Fox standing out just with a fantastic effort, almost in the backfield the entire ball game.
Well, once again, our final score here at Bronco Stadium in Boise, Idaho. Georgia Tech 52, Tulsa 10. This has been an exclusive presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. As we look at these photos here on the field, the blue turf of Boise Bronco Stadium. Congratulations to Georgia Tech. And a reminder coming up next, Atlantic 10 basketball as Alabama meets Xavier. For Rod Gilmore, Heather Cox, and our entire crew, I'm Tim Ryan. So long from Boise. Now to Kara Capuano and the college basketball studio.